this. What the frick? Got a light in the back here. Man, this is always something, huh? Welcome to the stream. Today's gonna be something, huh? Today, the swear jar is gonna fill up quicker than a hurry. I don't know what's going on here. Guys, yeah, I don't know how to think right now. I don't know how to feel. If I'm being honest with you, I combine these just to get it out of the way. I think a part of me wants to be done with it no matter what. So let's just do it. Thank you guys yesterday for swear jar donations. That was funny. And today we have got Emma Daybell and Garth Daybell, which I'm sure their names at this point are a little different. I think Emma's married. And this is Chad's kids. So I was going to try to tell you that I'll stop cussing. Let's just go ahead and just not promise that today. I will try to be as respectful as always, but yeah, we're gonna try our best here today. So I'm gonna pop in a headphone. We're gonna get going. Oh man, we got a long one today because Garth's is really short. Emma's is about 2 hours, which is really interesting. And yeah, I honestly, my first question always comes down to what is Chad thinking right now while his child has to be on the stand because of what he did. And from what I understand, she's going to probably defend him. So we'll just get started. Let me know if the sound is good, everything's good. It's good to see you guys. And swear jar is still open because I think that I'm going to continue down the same path. So
is the witness going to be?
Emma Murray, Judge.
Very well. We'll go ahead and have the witness brought in, please.
What is in there? Oh, it's my.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's not that light. It is that light.
Right to the microphone, and then your first working picture.
Thank you.
May I, Judge?
Yeah, before we get started, I was just sitting here considering whether or not the exclusionary rule applies to this witness, and I don't believe it does. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge. But in the issue of precaution, my subpoenas stated that nobody was to observe any of the proceedings, and I will inquire Ms. Murray as to whether she observed any of the proceedings anyway, Judge.
Okay. I think it's just fair on questioning for examination on Director Cross, but I won't make any inquiry on the exclusionary order. So with that, I'll just remind the witness then you are under oath for your testimony. You can inquire on direct if you'd like, Mr. Pryor.
Would you state your name, spell your last name for the record for me, please?
Emma Murray, M-U-R-R-A-Y.
And Emma, there's a gentleman to my left in a blue shirt at the desk over there. Do you recognize who that is?
Yes, that's my father.
Now, I noticed that your last name is Murray. Can you explain that to me, please?
I was married and changed my name.
You are married?
Yes, I'm married.
And your husband is Joseph Murray?
Yes.
Did you receive a subpoena from either the prosecutor or the defense in this particular case?
I received a subpoena
So it's his witness. Pretty interesting, huh? His witness.
from both.
And at no point you were called for the prosecution, is that correct?
I was not.
And you did receive a subpoena from my office to appear as well.
I did.
And in that subpoena, did it indicate that we would rather you not review the proceedings as part of this, as part of your testimony in this case?
Yes, and I did not.
I want to talk a little bit about how often we've had an occasion to talk about this case, you and I. And can you explain to the jury how often we've spoken about this case?
I've talked to John maybe 3 times.
And last night we met prior to your testimony today.
That's correct.
At any time, did I indicate to you any way you're supposed to say or anything that you should say or were supposed to say as part of your testimony?
You told me just to tell the truth.
Okay, and you're prepared to tell the truth today.
I am.
I want to talk a little bit about where you're living right now. And where do you live right now?
I live in the house that was my parents'.
Okay. And at this point, you're not aware of any financial situation. Is it true that you're not aware of any financial situation between myself and your father regarding that house?
That's correct.
Okay. And you don't have any personal knowledge of anything that is any arrangement between your father and I. Is that correct?
Yeah, I made an arrangement with my father. I don't know what he's decided with you.
Okay.
How could you freaking live in that house? How could you do it? Your mom Tylee and JJ, I don't care if it's property. I would say I would rather live in a hotel and then find a new place than live in this home.
I want to talk a little bit about your mother's health.
Oh
can you
my
tell-
gosh, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. If they're going to try to pretend, oh,
Tell me in general about your mother's health in the last year or so.
Her health started declining. I was really worried about it. Well, she'd always been one to be able to meet the demands of daily life without being exhausted. And she started going to bed at like before dinner some nights. It would be like 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. And she would sleep in too if given the opportunity. So suddenly needing to sleep a lot was very confusing to me.
Are you aware of any health issues that your mother may or may not have had?
I, at the time, was not. Since her passing, I've been diagnosed with sleep apnea, and my maternal grandfather also has sleep apnea.
sleep apnea is not life-threatening.
And she's the generational link between. So I wonder if she did. That's something that obviously we can't investigate at this time. But symptoms like daytime tiredness and not getting restful sleep seem like they would fit what speculation.
This is sustained.
Okay. Were you aware of any other health maladies that your mother may have suffered from?
She had anemia.
Okay. Were you aware of any medications that your mother may have taken?
She preferred herbal supplements. She did take the generic form of the medication Prozac.
Okay.
That was the only prescribed medication that she regularly took.
Were there any non-prescription medications or herbs or supplements that you're aware of?
Oh, definitely. She really liked using colloidal silver was her favorite. It's
Slow down for me. Colloidal silver?
colloidal silver. It's distilled water with particles of silver in it to the part per million. It tastes like you're drinking water out of a metal water bottle, and it can cure everything.
Okay. And
I say that with a smile because you really should go to the doctor instead of drinking. Also speculation.
go ahead.
She would use colloidal silver as an antiviral, is what
Why
she
is
called
it
it.
so-
So anytime she felt under the weather, she would take colloidal silver, and she would. This calls for hearsay.
This is ridiculous because here's where we're at with this. Okay. Take natural remedies is nothing wrong with that. I can understand that. But the point is to try to act like she was unhealthy. This whole thing is now being like, we're now pretending that Tammy was sick and only would take colloidal silver and try to naturally fix it rather than, right? Like they're trying to basically pin this whole idea that Tammy was sick, which is not true. And if she was, even if she was sick, we know she was taken. So it's ridiculous. Like you even have this evidence now. It should change your mind. But here we are.
Go ahead.
I witnessed her drinking it, and she would encourage other people in our household to do so.
Were you a consumer of colloidal silver?
I was.
Okay. How'd that work for you?
It tastes nasty.
Okay. Did it help you in curing any ailments that you may have had?
I don't know.
Were there other things that your mother did in terms of remedies to resolve other issues she may have had?
She bruised really easily, and she used arnica gel.
Okay.
Arnica is a plant that helps with bruising. She had it in gel form.
And when you say she bruised easily, can you elaborate on that?
If she were to bump her hip on the counter when she was walking by, she would get a massive bruise from that. Even things like carrying a heavier load of groceries where the bag pressed on her arm would leave a bruise.
Okay. Okay. I want to go to the date of October 18th of 2019. Do you recall that day?
Yes,
Okay. And on the 18th, you were, and before I get there, your mother was employed at a school. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Now, in terms of the physical size of that school, can you describe the physical size of that elementary school for me, please?
This was a smaller elementary school built in a rural area. The area is growing, but the school is still small. Right now, it houses 3 grades.
Okay. So if there was discussion about having to travel within the school, would that be a significant distance that you would have to travel within this school?
No, I was also employed there at the time, and it was not a hassle to walk from one side of the building to the other.
Okay. And at the time, I'm going to go back to October 18th. And on the 18th, was there some sort of an event or occurrence that was taking place at the school?
The next week, there was going to be a book fair. It was going to be held in the library where my mom worked, and she needed to prepare her workspace to become a store. The community was going to be coming in and buying books, and so she wanted to move her personal items and personal books so that way they wouldn't get sold or stolen.
And in terms of distance from in this small school you described, how far was your classroom to where your mother's library was?
There were 2 different locations where she would work. One was a computer lab that was right next to my classroom. Some people didn't know that, but they shared a wall. You would have to walk around the corner for the entryway, but I could hear her teaching and she could hear me. Her library was just the next hallway over. It was hardly a walk.
When you say hardly a walk, did it encompass miles?
No,
Feet?
feet.
Okay. Now, in terms of interaction with other members of the school, how would you describe your mother's personality?
My mother was an introvert at the core. She could be friendly and small talk with people, but in general, I noticed she didn't confide in people. I also observed at that school, we, like many public schools, needed a lot more employees than we had. So most people were overburdened with work, especially supports.
Yeah, that's a good question. Was Tammy suffering abuse from Chad? Was there actual covering it up? Regardless, I'm sorry I have to say it this way, but it's just as true as possible. There's no way. Okay, there's going to be 2 options here. Either Emma has not listened to this trial, which she just said she didn't because she couldn't. But if she never went back to listen to the evidence of what was going on and you stay in that place, that is your choice. That is your fault. And even if, like, when I remember calling people after everything even started with Lori and I was asking questions because I was confused and I needed more answers, and they gave me their side, and that's when you start discussing because you know something's wrong in your gut and all of these things don't make sense. So something has to be going on that's bigger than what you thought in your mind or what you believe. So at this point, it would be her fault for not knowing.
Staff. And so she really didn't have time to visit. Even during lunchtime, when you would typically think someone could sit down and chat with a neighbor, she was helping students go through the lunch line and pay.
Would it have been your mother's habit to openly discuss her health issues with members of her school staff?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
At any time were you present when your mother discussed any of her health issues with other members of the school staff?
Any chance that I got to, I would go visit her in her classroom. And I never observed her talking about her health with our coworkers. She seemed pretty embarrassed about.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Did you observe your mother in terms of her interactions with other members of the school staff?
I did.
And what did you observe?
I did not observe her talking about her health.
Okay. Would you describe your mother as a very private person?
Yes.
Would you agree that it wasn't her habit to want to miss work?
She wanted to go every day.
Okay. Was that her work ethic or was there some other underlying reason?
Her work ethic. She was also not a salaried employee, so she was paid by the hour.
So it was important financially from your perspective that she work?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about.
Well, Chad did what? What was Chad doing while Tammy had to work? Making up Harry Potter stories and writing fiction, God fiction.
The book fair on the 18th and the preparations that were involved. Did you personally observe anything as far as your mother preparing for the book fair?
She loaded her personal belongings in boxes and loaded them heavier than perhaps she should have, because I observed her walking down the hallway and she was resting the box against her body on her arms, holding it back and walking with a lot of effort. I was in a meeting and I actually stepped out to help her because it was way too heavy for her.
And on that occasion, what vehicle did she drive to the school to load those boxes and unload those boxes?
She drove my
Look at
parents'
Chad actually looking at her. Do you see how he's watching everything? He's had his head down a lot. With Ray, head down. Melanie, head down. Most of the people that were actually effing him up, he had his head down. But right now, he's staring because he's comfortable with her. Why would the murderer be comfortable with what she's saying? You know why? Why wouldn't it hurt? Because they all agreed beforehand what was going to be said, how it was going to be said, and how they were going to lie for their dad. How can you not see it? It's not even a question.
Dakota that day.
Okay. And then I want to go back to approximately 2017 forward. Who was the primary driver of the Dodge Dakota?
My father.
Okay. And what would your mother be driving?
She would be driving a Chevy Equinox. She always liked to drive the nicer of the two vehicles.
Now, there were exceptions to your mother and father switching vehicles. Would that be fair?
That's correct.
But primarily, your dad was the one driving the Dodge Dakota. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Eventually, that truck was sold to who?
My husband and I.
Okay. Do you still have that truck?
Yes.
Yeah, sold for $200.
Your mother would use a common phrase in the last year of her life in terms of an assessment of how she would feel. And
By the way, I want to
Yes,
say
objection here calls for hearsay.
shout out to all you guys. I see all your swear jar stuff. You guys are awesome.
Sustained.
were there occasions when you would, I think I'll move on from there. That's okay. I want to talk a little bit about the Fitbit. Your mother had a Fitbit, is that right?
Yes, she
You know
had
what
a,
I'm also gonna say? Because it's his witness, obviously they talked before this and they just met and went over it, right? But you can hear that they are already touching on topics. Prior usually is all over the place, right? He's very clear on what he's doing here, and their whole goal is to make it look like Tammy was sick. That is literally the goal of this entire thing.
wristwatch that would count her steps.
Okay. And at this point, was it her habit to use that Fitbit on a regular basis?
Yes, she would wear it during the day and then charge it at night
Okay.
when she was sleeping.
So she was counting her steps during the day as part of that Fitbit.
Yes,
And is it your assessment that your mother physically was in a fit state?
but no, part of why she wanted the Fitbit was to increase her physical fitness.
Okay. She was working on her physical fitness.
Yes, she had one, I had one, and she bought my dad one, but he wouldn't wear it.
I want to talk a little bit about your husband Joe's parents. Who are they?
Ed and Charlene Murray.
Okay. And was there some sort of a competition between your mother and Ed and Charlene Murray?
If you make an account in Fitbit, you can add friends. They're people that you know, and you can compete with them to see who takes more steps during the day.
Okay. And were you aware of any competition that was going on between Ed and Charlene Murray and your mother?
Yes, my father-in-law took a lot of steps during the day.
Oh, I see you slow. I see you becoming a chief.
She
Even
wanted
though
to
they're out the playoffs. It's all right. Our feelings aren't hurt over here.
be the winner, and so she would try to beat him.
Would you describe your mother as a competitive person?
Yes,
Okay. Okay. And was there anything unusual with the way your mother operated her Fitbit?
yes.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Sustained.
At any time, did you observe your mother using an unusual manner in which to operate her Fitbit?
The Fitbit is designed so that way you walk and it measures your step by your arm moving. You can count more steps than you are actually taking if you shake your arm. And at nighttime,
Your Honor, I'm going to object and board dire native objection.
You may voir dire, Ms. Blake.
Thank you. Ms. Murray, do you recall visiting with your dad on or about November 17th of last year?
no,
Do you recall a conversation you had with him about the Fitbit and your dad telling you that your mom would hang her arm over the bed and swing it?
I observed my mom do that.
Do you recall having that conversation with your father?
No,
I'm sure you don't. I'm sure you don't remember
All
shit.
right, Ms. Blake, is there an objection?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you can continue, Mr. Pryor.
Thank you. So back to the question you
so,
mentioned.
so basically she's saying that if you had that Fitbit, right, as we all know, that would count as steps if you move your arm while laying in place. Regardless, any movement that you would have to try to get more steps, whatever that means. But of course, she's daddy's little girl. She's going to say whatever the hell that Pryor and him had already coached her on. You can hear it. You can hear it. It's not hard to pick up on.
In response to Ms. Blake, that you observed your mother with her Fitbit, and exactly what was she doing?
she was trying to get more steps to beat my in-laws.
It was a
And also,
competition.
she's in a great mood. She's very giggly. Everything's sweet in here. Shit's very sweet for her. All of it. Because it is way too, like, giggly in here between them all.
Yes,
And where did you observe her doing this with the Fitbit?
she had 2 locations where she would do this. She called it exercise.
Okay.
She would be in the living room. She would place an iPad on the back of a recliner and play the game Candy Crush while shaking her arm. And she would also lie in her bed while reading a book on her Kindle while shaking her arm.
Okay. Was it your habit of your mother to read at night?
Yes,
I want to change gears a little bit And at the time of your mother's passing, where were you living?
I was living across the street, diagonal, kitty corner.
She did not pass away. So let's not even try to say that.
So if there are, my recollection is there's 3 or 4 houses on that corner. Is that correct?
Correct.
So your house that you were staying in would have been on what location? The southwest or southeast?
I'm bad with directions. I live close, that house is closer towards Rexburg.
Okay, directly across the street, not diagonally. Is there a neighbor that you know over there?
There's 2 houses. There was a house that Matt and Regan Price were living in.
Okay. And then there's another house on the opposite.
There's another house. I don't know those people though.
Okay. So you were across the street and kitty corner from your father. Would that be fair?
Yes,
Relatively close.
yes.
Okay. Now, there's been some discussion about your mother training for a 5K race. Do you have any information about that?
I was training for a 5K race, but she was not.
Okay. And why do you say she was not?
I invited her to run with me and she told me no, and that she never would.
Okay. Now, there was some discussion about your husband in September sponsoring a 5K race. Do you recall that, of 2019?
Yes, he wanted to fundraise for an organization called Operation Underground Railroad, and he organized a 5K race. A similar one had been put
Mind
on in
you, the interview we watched that YouTube took down because we reacted to, I forgot what it was. Maybe it was A&E or something that did a mini doc, but they interviewed in that episode of that, like, whatever, and it was all of Chad's kids. You guys have probably seen this. I can't show it to you because it got copyrighted, but before it went down, that was where the 2 hot dog picture came from, by the way. If you don't know, when we talk about Chad with 2 hot dogs, there was a freaking picture in there, and he had 1 hand and 2 dogs, 1 half bit and 1 just normal. And I think there's a short on our channel if you guys are interested in seeing it, but it was hilarious. Long story short, I don't know how I'm getting off topic here. Long story short, I forgot what I was saying. Damn it.
community before, and he wanted it to happen again.
Thank you, Mary.
And so he organized it. My mother helped.
Okay. Well, in helping, did your mother participate in that 5K race?
She did not.
There was a discussion about some previous testimony about someone observing her. I believe it was a principal observing her crossing the finish line. Do you have any personal observations about what you saw that day?
My mother may have walked across the finish line while helping with the race administration. She was not entered as a participant, and she did not go the entire distance. There were some.
Yeah, they in that interview, which was done in 2020, it was 48 hours. Thank you so much. It was called something, The Secrets of Chad Daybell's Backyard, which I think is a fucked up title, because that shit's not funny. And it just kind of seems like trying to make it worse than it is. Anyway, regardless, she goes on, and all of them go on to say that Chad is innocent and that all of this is Lori's fault. So I just want you guys to have a little bit of context here if you don't know all the history, because I'm new to it as well, is that Emma and her brother, Garth, the 2 older siblings, have publicly said that Lori and Chad were not having anything more than an emotional affair, and that this is all Lori's fault, and basically just double down that Tammy was sick. And then when we turned it off on the YouTube channel, when we were reacting to it, is when Emma took the guy, the interviewer, on an effing tour to the backyard to show him exactly where they found Tylee and JJ. And that was one of those moments where you have to hold everything in, hold it all in as much as you possibly can, because that caused a lot of more resentment towards them. I, again, never have met them. Have seen them in person one time at one of Chad's hearings, and me and Kay were there together for Chad. And yeah, bro, I don't know what their fucking problem is, and they don't want to face reality, and you know, it's never going to change probably. So this whole thing is already weird. If I just am unbiased, it's too silly, it's too bubbly, it's too nonchalant, and you can hear it's all about Tammy. This is all about how Tammy was sick and that she was not murdered. She would just died in her sleep, like they all want to pretend that's what happened. You can't fake it. You cannot pretend and just keep sitting there and lying to yourself forever.
People at the end of the race who were going very slowly, and a group of people walked with them to encourage them to finish. And she may have been with that group, although I don't remember seeing her.
Okay. So what you're saying then is that you may have observed her with some people helping somebody across the finish line, but to your knowledge, she wasn't participating in the race.
That is correct.
She wasn't registered in the race.
She wasn't dressed to run either. She was wearing blue jeans.
Okay. And do you specifically remember that from September of 2019?
Yes.
Okay. I want to change the subject a little bit about the clogging and the Zumba high fitness classes.
My freaking jacket wouldn't let me go. I'm really already kind of done with this. I don't want to hear her lie about Tammy for the next 30 minutes. So, and look at Chad. He's watching her. So just pay attention to some of Chad's body language. 95% of the time we've watched him, his head's like this. So he just sits there and just kind of does this, or he looks on his thing. He'll look up, he'll look away. He is watching a lot of what she says, which means he's comfortable with what she's saying.
What can you tell me about you and your mother's participation in those classes?
At that time, my mother and I were both overweight and wanted to exercise more. And some ladies at the school invited us to come to a class that they were going to in the evening at a local elementary school in the gym.
Can you tell me when approximately you and your mother started those classes?
We started going in April 2019.
Just for context, since you guys probably haven't really seen the setup of this courtroom, as you can see the wide view here, I don't know why I'm pointing. Wide view here is everybody, and then the prosecution's facing the person who's talking here. And then Chad and also Lori, this is the exact same courtroom for both of them. So both times that I went, they're in the exact same spots on that side too. And Lori and Chad both sit right here, and their table is facing you. So if they're horizontal, well, I guess they would technically be counted as vertical with this. So they're vertical with this, they're horizontal. So their table is facing you and the jury. So it's very crazy because if Chad is staring straight, the jury can look right at him, and then their heads are turned to their right to look at the person who's speaking. So I'm just kind of giving you guys, whenever you see him looking right here, he's watching her because that's where his head would be going. He's looking across the judge. He's sitting right here. He's looking across the judge and looking right at her. And so that's kind of why I just want you guys to know kind of like how you can tell where he's looking, because if he's looking down or anywhere else, it's either the jury is straight for him. So if he's looking off the camera straight, it's the jury, but he's watching her the entire time.
And this was a joint effort to improve both of your fitness?
That's correct.
In your situation, was that shortly after a birth of one of your children?
That's correct.
And I got a lot of heat for suggesting people's weight and size and everything else, but needless to say, you felt personally.
Yes, that is my own words. I was overweight and I wanted to get healthier.
Okay. And your mother, from discussions with her, shared the same view?
Yes, I don't know how much she weighed.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Abstain.
Okay. In any event, the purpose of the Zumba class was for both of you to try to improve your fitness.
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk about the level of participation that both of you engaged in as part of those clogging and Zumba classes?
The idea of the Zumba class, high fit.
Hold on. And I'm not being rude when I say this. Are we talking about clogging the dance? Clogging, like wood shoes clogging? Is that what we're talking about? Because I just want to have context to what we're talking about. Because I'm pretty sure he said clogging, not logging.
Is that you can participate to whatever ability you're able to. The way that the gym was set up is it was a school multi-purpose room. So it had a basketball court and a stage. Our instructor would be on the stage where everybody could see her moving, and we would mirror her body movements similar to how you would copy an exercise video at your house. It was just live. We would dim the lights in the room and turn on party lights to make it feel more fun than a typical aerobics class. So it was dark in the room. You could see silhouettes of people in front of you, but you wouldn't really be able to see people around you. That's part of why it was appealing, is if you couldn't dance very well, nobody would make fun of you.
Okay. And in terms of location, where did you generally stand or participate in these Zumba classes?
My mother and I would go to the back of the room.
Was there a purpose for that?
There were different skill levels in the classroom, and we were on the poor end of that spectrum. And so we didn't want people looking at us.
Was it a requirement that you participate fully in every part of the dance or every route? And I don't know what the proper term is,
Man.
routine or dance?
I think routine is.
This is stupid, bro. We're laying so much foundation just to try to pretend that Tammy was unhealthy. You are seriously, that's fucked up. I've seen pictures of Tammy. She's not in any way, shape, or form out of shape. And I was a personal trainer for years and years and years of my life. I have trained clients who were too skinny, overweight. I've seen every body fat percentage and changed it or whatever the case was. I'm just being 1,000% honest. There's not one single picture I've ever seen of Tammy where she even looked in the slightest bit out of shape. Now, when we talk about out of shape as well, we're also talking about even if you were out of shape, the only time being out of shape affects your health to such a degree is if you start to develop diabetes and or heart issues, lung issues. That's when when obesity gets so much that your organs get covered in fatty tissue, and that fatty tissue stops your organs from functioning correctly, which would be like clogging your arteries, whatever the case may be, and stopping your heart from going forward. She in no way, shape, or form has ever, even in any picture I've ever seen, been close to that. So to even try to make it feel like she was out of shape is why she passed away, is why we're laying all of this foundation. That's what this whole thing is for, is to say that basically here's a witness, her own daughter, who will throw her mother under the bus to say, well, yeah, she was struggling to get through these classes, this and that. You can feel it, bro.
Fair, but no, you're not required to. The entire thing is voluntary to even show up and participate.
Okay. And then as far as the clogging, do you recall how often the clogging classes took place?
We would go once a week on Wednesdays. We went for about 6 weeks.
Okay. And for about 6 weeks?
Yes.
So if I do my math correctly, and you're the teacher, not me, that's 6 times?
Just about.
Okay. And then did that continue when did the clogging end?
She stopped going when she died.
Okay. And then when did it start?
Who the fuck says that like that? Man, gosh dang, this shit is callous. Like I am starting to get I'm not just angry, I'm actually like genuinely hurt. Because it's like, it's so callous. I don't care if it's 2024 and she died in 2019. She didn't even die. She was murdered. So even if she's been gone for that long, you can tell there's no thought when she says it.
About 6 weeks before. It was with the beginning of a school year.
So if there's a suggestion by anyone that your mother had been clogging and doing Zumba class for over a year, would that be accurate?
Objection, Your Honor. Argumentative. Calls for speculation.
Same.
I want to talk a little bit about your mother's other experience. Did she have any self-defense training?
Not through a formal class, but our church would periodically organize evenings, enrichment night, where you could learn different skills. And in Springville, they would routinely have the police show us self-defense skills.
And how often did you do that?
Maybe once a year.
And if you were to assess your mother's ability to fight off someone if they were attacking her, how would you rate that?
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation and calls for speculation.
Same.
Did you ever observe your mother engage in any sort of physical activity where she practiced fending off any assailants?
There's a game on the Wii, a video game system called.
A fucking game on the Wii is not going to teach you how to be I play video games. You guys, we have our Pop Culture Poppy channel. We play video games. Do not tell me you can practice self-defense against an assailant in any virtual reality or video game.
Exerbeat, and there's a kickboxing portion where you can practice punching.
Motherfucker, I could practice punching right now in the air. I'm sorry, I am getting worked up. Because it's so callous. Like, how are you all this callous? How are you all, it just doesn't affect you? I never met Tammy and it affects me because my heart shatters for her and what she must have experienced and having to deal with a cheating husband that then turned and murdered you. Just like I feel for Charles, even though he's my dad, I have different feelings for Charles, but it's the same, almost the same exact thing. A cheating spouse who then just turned on you after being together for over a few decades, having a family, children together. It's even different because Chad literally had his children with her. This is the mother of his children. And nobody in that square seems to give a fuck about her. And here we are letting the whatever his name is, Pryor, set foundation to make sure that we all see that Tammy was not well. And let's also go backwards. Practicing kickboxing on your Wii is not self-defense. I guarantee you, if you ever try to use the skill that you got on the Wii with someone in real life, you would be destroyed. So please, if you need real self-defense, go learn real self-defense. I don't even know if this is true. I can't take anything she says for truth. I can't.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about life insurance. And I want to mention the name Taylor Ballard. Do you know that name?
Yes, the Ballard Insurance Group offers insurance for our school district.
Okay. And did you have an occasion in September at the start of school to engage in a presentation by the Ballard office?
At one of our faculty meetings, they came and talked to us about life insurance and increasing it. And they showed us that the rates were competitive, or it was really cheap insurance. And so they encouraged us to purchase some. And both my mother and I purchased some at that meeting.
Okay. And at the meeting, was it at the meeting that both of you just elected to purchase the insurance?
Yes,
So prior to that, and I can't remember, in September of 2019, I believe you were married at that point. Is that correct?
I was.
Did you consult with your husband before you elected to up your insurance at that point?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Are you aware as to whether or not your mother consulted with the insurance with your father prior to upping her insurance on that meeting day with Taylor Ballard?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for
Guys, I'm not
speculation.
even hating on the Wii. We have a freaking Nintendo Switch where we do the Wii Sports. I'm just talking about, you cannot tell me that is even in the realm of self-defense. To punch the air with the controller is just not self-defense. That's just all I'm saying. And this whole life insurance thing, they're blaming her for going and upping her life insurance too. The whole thing is Tammy's fault, and their defense's eyes is going to make Tammy. I can't wait for Cross. I wish I could skip this and get to Cross, because we already know the gist of what this dude's doing.
Overruled.
Are you aware of whether or not your mother consulted with your father on that day to up her insurance?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
You can answer it.
We were sitting at a table and filled out the paperwork together. We both signed to take out more life insurance on ourselves, and we did not consult with our husbands.
Okay. And at that point, did you take up the maximum amount of insurance that you could purchase at that point?
I did not, because I could not afford it. I later did.
Okay. At the next period.
Yes,
But it's your understanding that without discussing with your father, your mother elected to up her insurance to the maximum amount.
I saw her check that box on the paper.
Okay.
I think if I made you guys a list of swear words, would damn be on it? Yes, I would consider damn, depending on context. But I think we know the three majors, which have been coming out a lot lately. The F word has been flying out my mouth like crazy.
I want to change gears a little bit. And there was some testimony about a Google search for south-southwest wind. And that would have been on 9/8/19. Do you recall that?
I do.
And was that your father who did that search?
That was me.
And what was the purpose of doing that search?
I saw a rainstorm. We were planning an outdoor event, and I wanted to know if those clouds were coming our way. The weather forecast for where we live in Rexburg is sometimes inaccurate because we don't live in Rexburg. So I was trying to be an amateur meteorologist, and the weather app said it was coming from the south-southwest, and I didn't know if that meant it was coming or going from the southwest. And so I did a Google search on the desktop computer that my parents.
I got to stop and read what Monica said. She said, Colby and Kelsey, Merry Christmas. All of our best to you and the kids. My son is home in T-minus 48 hours. First of all, thank you, Monica. And secondly, I am so excited for you, and I'm so happy your son is coming home. I'm just happy for you. I'm happy for you and your family. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing Christmas.
It's kept in the living room. That would have been typical at that time. I was late to getting a smartphone, so using a desktop computer would have been more comfortable for me. And it was common just to jump on the computer. There wasn't any login or anything, so it was just getting on the internet.
Okay. And the access to that computer, I'd like you to talk a little bit about where that computer was in relation to the rest of the house.
My parents had two different computers, a PC and a Mac. There's different capacities of each one, and my mom liked different parts of both for the business. So they had one of both, and they were next to each other in the living room. And the screens were set up so that way everybody could see the screen.
And you talked a little bit about your mother and the financial issues. When you talk about and I just had a lapse as to the name of your father's publishing company,
Spring Creek Book Company.
Spring Creek Book Company, and I'm going to mess it up again.
Shithead. First of all, this is my question. If you run a legitimate business and you're a grown man, okay, and I'm not trying to go at people, but stick with me here. You're a grown man and you're having your wife help you with your business while also funding everything, because there's no shot that people were buying Chad's books at a high enough clip to provide an entire income. Unless I'm wrong. You guys could know more about this than I do. I need to do more research to talk about it. But to force I guess not force, but basically not be the provider of the family and make your wife have to go out and provide for your company, then come home and also serve your company, is very selfish. Very selfish. And that's where he must have had all this time to just bullshit around and just make up stuff, and just, this is how he had time to just go and do his cheating and just do all this stuff, because he literally was not doing anything.
And so please bear with me. How would you describe the different roles of your father and mother in terms of their participation in the Spring Creek Book Company?
I would say that my dad was the creative side behind it, and my mom was the one that made everything happen with finances and logistics.
So she ran the fucking business while he created things, while he wrote books, while he just sat there and made it all up. This is exactly what I'm talking about. She just confirmed it. So Tammy worked her butt off to provide, and then came home and helped this man run a business by doing everything but writing the actual stuff.
My dad would find authors or potential authors that could write books, and he would meet with them and give them guidance to write. And my mother would help design book covers. Most of them she did by herself, and she would do the finances and taxes for the company. And they worked together on it. And I don't think they could have done each other's jobs.
But there was access in both of them. Was it necessary for both of them to know the passwords to all of the organizational, for lack of a better word, all of the organization of the Spring Creek Book Company?
Yes, they were both able to log into the required programs.
Okay, there was no need for them to be provided or have someone provide them with the passwords. They were both well aware of them?
That's correct. And my mother also would typically save her passwords. So even if you knew it, you wouldn't need to type it in.
Okay.
Hence where Julie Rowe
wanna
got an opportunity to publish her books through Chad.
Change gears a little bit. We're going to get back to your father and his artistic side in a minute. But I want to change gears about the physical
Artistic side. Okay. Yeah, let's pretend that's there.
description of the home that you're now living in. Would it be fair to say that it's a brick house,
Yes,
a one-story,
yes,
that there's a garage?
yes,
Is there an unusual structure that's attached to the back of the garage?
yes. The previous owner constructed a building over the pump house where the well is, the machinery that draws water for the house. And it's unheated. It's built from a different material than the rest of the house. There's not very much electricity that goes to it.
Okay. And did any of your brothers or sister ever use that, and what was the word for that?
Cozy cone,
Cozy, what?
cone.
Come
Oh,
on, dog.
C-O-N-E?
Either he's hard of hearing or he doesn't register what you're saying. This dude always needs so much confirmation. I remember the cozy cone thing, and I just heard it one time whenever they brought up Chad's house
Yes,
Okay.
with Heather.
Is there a time when at least one of your brothers would use the cozy cone?
we all would periodically, the children. We would play musical instruments up there. It was far enough away from the rest of the house that you could play loudly on drums and it wouldn't annoy mom. And you could turn up your guitar amp as loud as you wanted and nobody could hear it. But I would go up there. My brother Mark would. My sister Leah would go up there to study sometimes because it was
That
quiet.
gave me a bad feeling. So they had a room in the home that was soundproofed. And that just made my stomach drop.
Sure.
And it's detached from the other part of the house.
In terms of access to the cozy cone, is it true you have to go through the garage in order to get into the cozy cone?
Yes.
And how would you do that?
Well, you would open the door to go into the garage, walk through the garage, go through another doorway, and you would be in a hallway. And then to go upstairs, you would have to go through another doorway. It was really inconvenient.
Okay. I want to touch a little bit about your father's faith beliefs. And my understanding is you're of the LDS faith
Yes,
and you're a participant, an active participant in your faith. Is that correct?
yes.
How would you describe your father's faith?
I would say very traditional. In
Shut
what
the
he-
hell up. Okay, I got to give you guys my credentials here because this is ridiculous. So, when I went on an LDS mission, I was 18. And basically, when you go on an LDS mission, you have to preach the LDS religion to others to see if they want to join the church. So, you need a pretty good basis of the core of the church, the Latter-day Saints church, okay, LDS church. When I was about to go, you go to Utah before, usually, depending on where you are. But I went to Utah from Hawaii to practice being a missionary for that church. And I was there for 2 weeks, and you basically go over the basis of the church when you are giving the lessons to see if people want to be LDS as well. And so I will just 100% explain to you that any 18-year-old to 20-year-old LDS missionary could sit down right now and just hear the basis of Chad's religious beliefs and tell you without a doubt that that is not what the LDS church believes. Every single one of the things that he has said goes actually pretty far out of the scope of the LDS church. And then some of it is so contrary to the reality of the church, of the basis of like what people are doing. Like if you guys have ever met an LDS missionary, you could freaking ask them if they knew. Or if you just listen to what they say. None of what Chad believes is traditional. So let's just put that out there.
believed, and he would research very carefully, and he wanted to stick to as close as the original form as he could. So he was really interested in teachings from Joseph Smith and Brigham Young and similar early leaders of the church.
Would it be fair to describe your father as a fundamental?
Yes,
Okay.
FLDS, yes. Yes, very cultish, multiple wives, the original church ideals that didn't change over are what FLDS has, plus add-ons, I'm sure. But there's you guys have heard of the FLDS, correct? That's the Warren Jeffs, those guys. Like we talked about, at some point in the LDS church history, the entire LDS church went from believing that you can have multiple wives and you needed to do so to populate more, and that was actually a sign to get to the third kingdom, which would be celestial. And then when the American times changed and the federal government actually outlawed multiple marriages back in the 1800s, the church also changed their viewpoint. And you can speculate on that or whatever the case is. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of the history. And to me, it's a little bit crazy of the timing of that, but they changed out of that whole idea of multiple marriages and multiple wives. But the FLDS people at that time said, no, this is what God wanted us to do. So they branched off and continued to do so, even though the core of the LDS church had got rid of the multiple marriages. So there's been things that have changed in the church over time, but that was one of the major splits of the fundamentalist FLDS church, is they still practice polygamy. And I think there's some other things that have changed probably over time. I think the FLDS church sticks to the original 1800s before it changed from polygamy specifically. That whole point of polygamy stayed in the FLDS church while the LDS church got rid of that. So there's lots of different changes if you go back and look at the history. But if you're just LDS in general, you would be confused with Chad's teachings.
Okay. And you didn't share his religious beliefs.
not necessarily.
Okay. Some of them you were.
Yes,
Some of them that are consistent with your current LDS faith. Is that correct?
yes,
Come
Okay,
on,
but
Emma.
you would describe him as someone from days gone by, foregone?
yes,
Okay. Very traditional?
yes.
Okay. Literalist?
I don't know what you mean by that.
looked at the words and applied the plain meaning of the words?
Yes.
Okay, let's do some trivia. Here we go. Welcome to Colby J Ryan Game Show. We're gonna ask a couple of questions. In the LDS Church, do we believe that we can break the commandment of "Thou shalt not cheat"? No. Okay. How about "Thou shalt not murder"? Okay. Do I need to keep going? How about "Thou shalt not steal"? Okay. Well, I think the game's over. Thanks for playing.
And there's some theories that you didn't necessarily agree with him. Is that correct?
Yes.
Would that be a subject of discussion at the dinner table when you were growing up?
Yes.
Okay. And do your brothers and sisters all share your father's fundamental beliefs?
I think they're more similar to me, that there's elements that they might feel drawn to and others that they don't.
Are there elements of your father's faith that you don't necessarily agree with?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. There's been some discussion about the idea of light and dark. Can you describe to me what you understand to be the concept of light and dark?
The phrases good and evil would be talking about your actions, what you chose to do, where light and dark would be talking about your motivations. Light means that you're acting selflessly like the Savior would be, and dark means that you're selfish, focusing inward like
That is
Satan would be.
okay. That is the literal definitions of the dark side versus the light side in Star Wars. I kid you not. Go watch episode 3 when Anakin turns into Darth Vader. Call me a nerd if you want to, but that is my point, is that the literal concept of the dark side is selfish versus the Jedi, which is supposed to be selfless, which is serving the greater good. That is literally the definition.
Okay. Was this something that your mother, from your discussions with your family, shared with your father in terms of her beliefs?
Yes.
So would it be fair to say that your mother's beliefs, to your knowledge, were also of the fundamental or traditional node?
Probably more so than him.
Okay. Did she ever have discussions about putting numbers, death percentages, or numbers, whether how light and how dark a person would be?
Yes.
Did she do that frequently?
Yes.
Okay. Was it particularly
Oh boy.
about anybody, or was it as her day-to-day activities she would make comments about that?
As she came across people and observed things, she would mention it.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Okay. Now, you had an occasion personally to deal with your mother's rating system in terms of dark. Is that correct?
Several.
Okay. And was there an occasion when your mother engaged in a practice of trying to rid some sort of dark entity from you?
Yes.
And can you describe what that was about?
So
Objection.
wow, they really as a family believed in the light and dark thing. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. That to me is always going to be the most confusing thing, because there is no LDS and or Christian belief or any follower of Jesus I've ever heard that have ever had a ranking system for people's light or darkness. It's not really measurable. So that right there automatically just breaks normal belief system to the LDS Church itself. And there's no Christian person I've ever heard personally. Okay. I always have to be very clear. It's just my personal thing. I have never heard people be able to give a ranking numerical system to people's good or bad. Jesus did not teach that. And let's just be very clear. It's all throughout the New Testament. There is not one time where Jesus talks about how high or low you are. The only thing that Jesus ever references in the Bible about light or darkness, in a sense, is how there's a verse about the light in your eyes basically being how dark is the darkness, not a ranking system though. So very different situation, because this is very specific to, you know what I mean? Like very specific to being a system of like, you are 4.2, you are 4.1, you are this. That's very different, very specific.
And Your Honor, relevance.
Overruled.
Can you describe what that was about, please?
I have struggled with anxiety for years, and it was feeling very unmanageable. And I felt like there was a being that was with me. And I talked to my parents about it. And my dad cast it out using the power of the priesthood.
No, he did
And then
not.
I felt
He doesn't even practice for the priesthood. If he were to be a priesthood holder in the LDS lore, he would be unworthy to hold the priesthood. just by all of the stuff he did that was against Jesus Christ. Just so we're all clear, even by the LDS church standards, Chad would be unworthy to hold the priesthood according to their own standards because of what he was doing in the background.
Better afterwards.
Okay. When you say the power of the priesthood, what do you mean by that?
The power of God given by the laying on of hands.
Is that something that has to be specially endowed upon something, or is that some sort of a patriarchal role that someone gets as head of a family household?
Any eligible man can have it
Okay.
if they're living and keeping covenants in the church.
Okay.
I'm going
And
to
on
pause
issues of-
15,000 times today. Can we just go back to what Chad was doing when he was cheating? Just that alone by itself would automatically, by LDS standard, if you went into an LDS bishop and talked about that, you could not just continue going down the same way unless your bishop turned his head and just made it all up. But by the church standards of being an LDS person, you would be turned for a certain amount of time. There'd be some kind of probationary period. Okay. Now, as a Christian, I don't know what the equivalent of that is, but I think it's very between you and God. And that's something that you can get guidance in. But as a Christian, the whole priesthood thing is definitely something I never understood all the way, because I truly believe that God gives through his Holy Spirit into the person, because I do believe that women can do the same thing as men. And I believe that women hold the ability to do so through God's Spirit, not a specific blessing that separates men and women. That's my personal opinion. And that's what I have always seen, because I believe if a mom put her hands on her child and prayed to God, it would be the same power as a man doing so for his child as well. So that's my personal opinion. I just want to put that out there.
Covenants in the church. Your father's not a perfect person, is he?
No.
And you're aware of a relationship that had been going on, and I'm not trying to embarrass you or cause you some difficulty, but you did subsequently learn that your father had a relationship with another woman,
Yes,
and that was not an appropriate relationship.
it was not.
And at this point, it was, for all practical purposes, having a relationship with Lori Vallow while still being married to your mother.
That's correct.
And would you agree that not anybody's perfect?
Yes.
You're not perfect.
No.
None of us are perfect.
Nobody.
This has nothing to do with being perfect. This has to do with being a liar. This has to do with murdering and cheating and stealing. And by their standards, I hope she at least learned a little bit that he was cheating. They were not twisting legs like pretzels. They were not kissing each other's cheeks. Okay. We're not 12 years old. We're not, actually, that's more like a 6-year-old. Okay. They were full on blown cheating, a full on affair that led to the murder of both their spouses. Right. But nobody's perfect. Okay.
So when you say qualified male to help with the dark spirit or the dark entity, what do you mean by that?
Like the procedure to get rid of it?
No, just the type of male. Is it someone who's head of a family, or what is it?
In that case, I wanted to talk to my parents, but because they were my leaders in our family. But any man who is an adult and can make the promises to keep teachings of the church and to use the power to serve other people is eligible to receive it.
Well, guys,
That
we've
wasn't you.
talked about shame and all of these things, and I'm not going to go on a long tangent. No, we're not perfect. But you also do have to understand, we can't pretend that it was lesser for Chad and Lori. It wasn't an emotional, flirtatious affair that they barely flirted and then got married 2 weeks after Tammy, or whatever amount of time it was. It was very quickly, right? Like, we're not going to sit here and pretend that that's the case.
Unique to my father.
And then and giving blessings in not your father's faith, but in your faith, it's not uncommon for people to give blessings to each other. Would that be fair?
It's common for people to do that.
And it's common for people to offer to give blessings to people in your faith. Is that fair?
Yes.
And it could come from any direction. Would that be fair?
Any direction.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Anybody can give another person a blessing.
Yes,
No.
as long as the man is eligible.
Or anybody can give
What's
a blessing.
eligible? Thank you. Just explain that one. See, by your own standard, what's eligible?
To if you felt moved, you could give a blessing to another male. Is that possible?
In the fundamentalist views, around the time of Joseph Smith, there were women that would do that. That's frowned upon today, though.
Okay, so at this point, it's usually the head of the male or a male person who is the one who would generally give the blessing to other people. Would that be fair?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Now, while you were dealing with this dark entity, is it your understanding that when you're going through the process of trying to rid that dark entity or that feeling of, and would you describe it as just a feeling? Would that be a fair way to describe it?
I felt like there was an actual person trying to control me.
Okay. And at that point, after the conclusion of what your mother engaged in and your father engaged in, did you feel relieved or some recovery as a result of that?
I instantly felt better. I felt like the individual that was trying to affect my body was gone.
Okay,
And
that's
this-
called the placebo effect. And let's be honest. Why? Because worthiness is not, there's no worthiness as far as we go. Okay, let's all just get out of our heads and thinking that we have to be some kind of like, let's go with what the definition of being perfect when it comes to God's eyes. There's nothing you can do that will make you perfect. There's no matter how worthy you think you are, it doesn't have anything to do with you being a good person. It has everything to do with taking on Jesus Christ. That's what a Christian would believe, is that you believe that you know you're not perfect. So through Jesus' sacrifice, you therefore would take on, he would take your sin on, and you would be continually repentant, which this group is not. So the whole concept of Jesus Christ is completely lost on all of them, because you need Jesus Christ to say, yes, I keep screwing up. I am always going to be this way. Paul was a very good example of this in the Bible, in the New Testament, to constantly say, there's nothing I can do to be perfect. Therefore, I'm screwed. I'll never be perfect. That's the whole point. You're never going to be perfect. We don't use that, though, and anybody should use, oh, well, I'm not perfect, as an excuse for anything. That's just not what it is, right? That's not an excuse. Oh, well, I'm not perfect. So I ended up cheating on my wife and then killed all these people and then ran away and spent all their money while they were dead and then got caught. Now I'm not perfect. Okay, not the same thing. So last thing I want to say about this is that all of this should be ringing, and her having anxiety and getting a blessing from somebody who at that point by LDS standard would be unworthy, would not be able to really form in that way to actually cast out that being that was causing you anxiety. I think that there's a lot of placebo effect when it comes to people wanting to believe. What you should be doing is willing to go to God yourself. If you believe that, if you believe in God, you would want to go to God yourself and go and figure those things out. There's nothing wrong for asking someone to pray for you, but you get my point, is that relying on Chad, who by your own church standards would not be worthy, couldn't do it because he'd be blocking his own ability to do so. So that's what frustrates me the most, because that contradicts itself hard.
This is something that is not inconsistent with the LDS teachings, light and dark, and these sort of entities. Would that be fair?
And all Christianity in the Bible, the Savior would cast spirits out of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
cast them out. Cast them out. Not take their lives because they were already bumped out. That never once happened in your Bible. Go read it over and over and over. You'll never even get the slightest contradiction to when Jesus casted out a demon. The person never had to die because the evil spirit left and the person was restored. That doesn't mean they came back to their body. It means they were always there. So by your own standard, let's use your own standard here. You would immediately be confused that your dad and those zombies, all the zombie stuff and all the reading of light and dark wouldn't make any sense to you based off of your own teachings.
at this point, as a result of casting out the spirits, does that mean that after they cast the spirits out, you die?
No,
Is there any instant that you can recall in your teachings as part of the fundamental or LDS church where by casting out a spirit, the result is someone dies?
no, the goal of it is so that way you have your own body back and can be in control of yourself.
Okay. Have you ever heard the word zombies?
Just on TV and
Okay.
movies.
Okay. And at this point, are you aware of whether by stating someone's a zombie and you do one of these castings, does that mean the person dies as well?
No,
Okay. And again, part of that casting and removal of the dark entities is also consistent with your LDS faith. Is that correct?
yes.
No, the hell it's not. The zombie thing is
I
not
want to talk to you a little
Christian.
bit about a
It's
subject
not
called
LDS. I don't know. It's made up. The whole idea of the possession of the body where you kick out the spirit is not anywhere in the Bible.
the emotion code. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
It was developed by a man named Bradley Nelson. The idea of it is that you use
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Did you Were you aware of whether or not your parents used the emotion code?
Yes, they did.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
And I would use it.
Hold on, before you keep answering, there's an objection that's pending. I'm going to sustain the objection. There's been no relevance established for this, Mr. Pryor.
Okay, well, I was trying to establish by having her talk about the emotion code, Judge.
Well, that's backwards of how we get evidence in. So please either ask additional foundation or ask another topic.
I love the judge, man. I love him.
Do you believe that your father and mother thought they could sense whether a person was light or dark?
Yes.
Was that something that was referred to as the emotion code?
No.
What is the emotion code?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
That's okay, Judge. We'll move on.
I got to know what this is. I'm going to look this up while we're reading or while we're listening.
Did you believe or ever observe your mother reflecting on her ability to identify what people's true intentions were?
Yes.
And would you talk to me a little bit about that?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
World.
Talk to me a little bit about
Stop
that.
trying to sell me the emotion code.
My mother learned about muscle testing or reflexology as a child from her parents, and later learned more about it through a class called the emotion code. The idea is that you use your body.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Okay. Did you observe which one of your parents was better able to apply this issue of this true intentions?
My mother was more skilled at it.
What the hell is this?
I want to talk to you a little bit about your father's books. And how would you describe your father's novels in terms of fiction
I'm
or
seeing a
not?
lot of the same things. So it's this column, and it's because it's out of what's it called? You can't see it because it's whatever. It says emotion code chart. Row 1 says heart or SM intestines, and then column A says abandonment, betrayal, forlorn, lost, or love unreceived, and column B says effort, unreceived, heartache, insecurity, overjoy, vulnerability. Row 2 means spleen or stomach. What the hell is a spleen? You mean spleen? Spleen or stomach? I could be wrong. I'm fine with being wrong. Anxiety, despair, disgust, nervousness, worry, failure, hopelessness, helplessness, lack of control, and it continues on. There's multiple rows, but I don't understand the context at all. And what does that have to do with rating someone light or dark?
Nonfiction.
He did write some.
Ideas in his books. Where do you think he derived most of his inspiration from?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Overruled.
You may answer.
the Latter-day Saint Church
Okay.
and his own ideas.
Okay. And I want to clarify a little bit. When you say the Latter-day Saint Church, you're not necessarily meaning the current Latter-day Saint Church, are you?
No.
Okay,
You're
this is
referring
actually
to-
pretty interesting. Okay, the emotion code. The emotion code uses specific questioning and muscle testing, kinesiology, which is sports science, and gets the answers about the body from the subconscious and the intelligent computer system of the body. As soon as a trapped emotion is identified, it is ready to be released. So that must have been explaining if you feel something somewhere, this is what it is. To do this, the emotion code combines two important elements: magnets and ancient principles of the Chinese medicine. The practitioner doesn't even have to know any of the details about the event in order to facilitate this release. Our emotional baggage consists of actual energies of intense events that are stuck in our body, creating pain, malfunction, and disease. There's a book, and it is called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. So that is exactly what they're referring to. And that was from the book that explains it. I don't know. I don't understand how that gives you. So if you're traumatized and you're holding things in your body that doesn't have anything to do with dark and light spirits, this would be very personal and have nothing to do with other people.
What was at some time a more traditional view of some of the readings of the Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
And would you agree that it was your father's intention to sort of, and through his books, discuss some of those theories and express those through his books?
Yes, similar to how historical fiction can teach about the past, he wanted to teach about the future with fictional characters.
Okay. And it doesn't necessarily mean, as someone like you who's has firm belief in the LDS faith, that you would necessarily agree with everything he put in his books. Would that be fair?
Yes, it was an interesting experience to read and to think about what I would do in similar situations, but I did not interpret it to be scripture in any way.
Nor did you interpret it something that you would generally accept or believe. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. How would you describe your father's personality?
Very introverted.
Much like your mother.
Yes.
Without name calling, would you describe your mother and father as more of a bookworm type?
Yes.
Okay. But your father enjoyed
I
expressing
thought
his views
bookworm's
about
just like reading. That doesn't have anything to do with being introverted.
his religious theories, correct?
He enjoyed speaking in front of groups and teaching, but not.
That wouldn't be introverted. Introverts would not want to publicly speak about their beliefs. That would contradict being an introvert. Just doesn't make zero sense.
Necessarily talking one-on-one with many individuals. That would be very draining for him. But talking in front of a group and teaching had a different energy about it.
Okay. And your father found great satisfaction in anyone who would take an ear expressing his views. And once he got on the subject, he would.
It was something he was passionate about, and he enjoyed talking about it.
And Judge, if I could just have a moment, I've got more to do, but if I could just recap real quick.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Your Honor. I want to talk to you a little bit about whether or not you know if your mother is familiar with paintball guns.
As a family,
Don't go down this road. Do not go down this road. I'm gonna get so pissed off. I'm gonna get so angry at this. Come on, dude. And that's another thing. It's so annoying because, guys, slow. I'm dead serious. It said speen, not spleen. I swear to you, I could show you the thing. That's why I was confused. It said speen. I don't know what a speen is, but I don't even know. It just to sit there and say, oh yeah, he's so introverted, but he loved speaking in bigger groups about his beliefs, something that would be super intimate, and all these visions and all these things and all these dreams that would be personal only revelation to you would be very vulnerable. Not common for somebody to want to talk about that, especially an introvert.
and like her current family with husband and children.
I'm talking about from her past.
Oh, that's a common recreational thing where we grew up in Utah. It wasn't something she enjoyed doing, but she probably went at some point.
Okay. Were you familiar with her brother and uncle who were involved in that?
Yeah, she had an older brother and an uncle who was about their age that liked to do adventurous things.
Okay. So at the time, do you recall the incident with the paintball gun incident?
I do.
You recall approximately when the date of that was?
October 9th.
Did you have an occasion to talk to your mother about that?
Yes, I had been with her moments before. She had dropped me off from our clogging class, and then she went home. And she posted on Facebook about it. That's how I learned about it. And I called her immediately.
Okay. Was there any confusion as to what she felt someone was pointing at her?
She was very sure it was a paintball gun.
Okay.
You know why she thought it was a paintball gun? Is the exact same reason Brandon thought it was a paintball gun. Because it is so out of the realm of your thought process that someone would come after you and take a shot at you, and it doesn't register that somebody tried to kill you. It's your brain's way of protecting you. So that's unbelievably ridiculous, because that's to try to pass them off as if they didn't know what they were looking at. Yeah. Imagine walking outside of your house and somebody just shoots. You're just brain, first of all, trying to protect you. And then secondly, it's not even the realm of possibility that you would go back and think, yeah, somebody actually tried to take a literal shot at me in my front yard. So your brain is doing a lot of things trying to figure out what just happened. And if there was a silencer on it, it wouldn't have made a loud noise. It wouldn't have been a pop like a gun. It would have been like, phew, you would have barely heard it, because that's why you would think it's a paintball gun. Let's put that in context, because that's so ridiculous that you would think that something happened like a gun, because there was no loud shot. It was a silencer, and who would be trying to kill me? That's all I'm saying. Thank you, Just Becky. It's coming. I think we're about to open up a whole can of whoop ass out here.
Um, I want to talk a little bit about the day of your mother's passing. And if you need to take a break or use a tissue, please let me know, or water. Please stop me and we'll take whatever time you need, okay? You arrived at your mother and father's home approximately when on that day?
I don't recall an exact time, but it was before 7 o'clock in the morning.
Did you have an occasion to talk to Coroner Dye?
I did.
Can you tell me what the nature of that discussion, not necessarily what Coroner Dye expressed to you, but what you expressed to Coroner Dye?
Coroner Dye was inspecting my mom's body, and she asked us some questions about our wishes, and she offered an autopsy. In the area that we live in, the body would have to be taken to Boise, which is about 5 hours away.
This is callousest thing I've ever heard. Like it sounds like there's not a single thought or care. I can barely talk about Tylee and JJ or Charles in context like this. There is not even a thought.
And it would delay the funeral. And this is my own personal view. I don't think autopsies should be done on anyone. And the idea of
what the fuck are you talking about? There should never be an autopsy done on someone? That red flag. If I'm gonna buy a damn red flag and hold this motherfucker up every time I hear stupid shit like this, no one should ever have an autopsy done. How do you think we understand how certain diseases and things do what they do? How in the world? Oh my gosh. That's some stupid shit right there. I'll tell you that.
my mother's body undergoing that was very distressing to me.
Okay. Did your father at the time in front of Coroner Dye ever express an opinion as to whether he felt one way or the other about getting an autopsy?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation, lack of foundation.
If you would rephrase that, Mr. Pryor, to make sure it's something she observed and not through other means.
Did you ever observe your father have a discussion with Coroner Dye on the subject of an autopsy?
My father was very distressed and was not speaking at that moment.
Okay.
He didn't want it to happen. He did not want Tammy's body to be exhumed. He did not want them to find out what happened. That is the point. You would have no problem with a loved one. Yes, it would be unbelievably distressing. But if they passed away and they said, we need to do an autopsy, I would say, I understand. Because that's a big deal to find out what the hell happened. You wouldn't care. You would not care. I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt. But you would not be that upset about it or go silent about it because they want to know how she passed away if she passed away. Fuck this.
Didn't express any opinion.
Okay. Did you express an opinion to Coroner Dye about what your wishes were?
I did. I did not want an autopsy.
Did your father agree with you or disagree, or do you know what kind of a position he may or may not have taken at that point?
He nodded.
Okay. But he wasn't the one insisting, to your recollection, on having an autopsy done, was he?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
At any time, did your father express an opinion as to whether or not he wanted an autopsy or not?
Objection, Your Honor, this calls for speculation.
Overruled.
May I have the voir dire native objection?
That's the way it was worded. It's a proper question the court will determine. So go ahead, Mr. Pryor.
I can answer that question, Emma.
Will you repeat it?
Madam Clerk, would you repeat the question for Emma?
See how nice he is to her, by the way? How convenient.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. This calls for
hearsay.
hearsay.
The way Emma disrespected her mother's memory during Pryor's direct hit me so hard at the time, so cold and full of contempt at times. Exactly. That's what bothers me the most about it. We've spent, look at how long deep in we are. We're 52 minutes in, and probably 80% of what has been said is specifically directed at Tammy's health prior to her being killed. So that way we could set foundation as to, yep, Tammy was not well, and then she passed away. That is exactly what is happening right now.
Overruled.
Go ahead.
He never expressed an opinion.
Okay. At the time of the discovery of the passing of your mother, how would you describe your father's emotions?
He was more distressed than I've ever seen him in my entire life. I'm used to, well, at that time I was an adult, but he felt like an adultier adult. I was used to,
What the fuck's an adultier adult? What is that? What the hell is an adultier adult? What is that?
parents being in control and in charge, and seeing him so distressed and emotionally out of control was very scary to me. And I didn't doubt his grief at all. I'd never seen him more upset than in.
Okay. Tess said, I just thank God that we find her cold demeanor odd. That's because we all have hearts. Love you, Colby and Kelsey. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too, Tess. For the red flag, says Elizabeth. I love that. An adultier an adult. I got to go get an adultier adult. I can't handle myself. I might be grown, but I need an adultier adult than me. Because I don't know. I just can't handle this. First of all, that might be rude to just go at that saying, but that is some weird thing to say, bro. Another red flag. How many? There's gonna be a lot of red flags from you guys today. A lot of red flag chats. He was not distressed at all. He couldn't wait to get away from his whole family, and there are texts to prove that shit. He could not wait to get out of his relationship. He said he was fucking Harry Potter under the stairs because he had to go hang out with you and your siblings and your mother, and he was pissed because all he wanted to do was cheat with Lori. That's all he wanted, and that's all he cared about, and that's all she wanted. So he was literally miserable around you. All he wanted was her. And then we have more proof that proves that he went and got married and took you guys on a trip with the adulteress. You can never tell me shit after hearing that. You guys went to Knott's Berry Farm. Oh, I'm sure you guys were really, really in grief. I'm sure that was a grief time. I'm sure Knott's Berry Farm, it was just, wiping your eyes with churros and in a big pretzel, and as you're riding the ride, it's just not even fucking fun. You're just going up and down, but there's so much depression. There's something weird here about the callousness of the group. All of the people involved in this are so callous. I don't understand how not one of you and any of these people have any genuine hard time with this. I don't understand. I feel like I must be overly emotional then. And maybe I am. I'm willing to take that, but this is wild.
In that moment,
Would you be able to assess whether that was genuine grief or not?
it appeared to be genuine grief.
Is there any doubt in your mind?
No doubt at all.
Okay. You understand that at the time he was involved in an affair with another woman, correct?
Correct.
But in spite of that, you still felt that he was genuinely grieved about your mother's death.
But I know that the grief that he felt was real. He may not have had the same romantic relationship with my mother that he had in the past, but I know that he valued her as a person, and seeing her die was very traumatic.
He valued her by being an adulterer for months on end. It's not I lost my romance, so I just get to go be with whoever. Still love you, honey, but I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hit this one. I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to come back to you and be an adulterer adult. How about that?
I want to move forward to a trip to California in November. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Okay. And can you give me an idea of approximately when that trip was in November?
it was right before Thanksgiving
Okay.
and over Thanksgiving break.
And in terms of how that trip came about, I would like to start with, you started somewhere in Idaho, is that correct?
Correct.
And who was on that trip?
My father, me, my husband, our son, my sister, her husband, their son, my brother Garth.
So if I go back over that long list, your sister Leah was there
Yes,
with her husband,
yes,
your husband Joe,
yes,
you,
yes,
Garth.
yes.
Garth didn't have his wife at that point.
He was not married at that time.
Okay. And then in addition, your father.
Yes,
And you left the St. Anthony Rexburg area fair.
yes.
Where did you go?
We drove to the Salt Lake airport.
Okay. And then from the Salt Lake airport, what did you do?
We flew to California.
Okay. And then what did you do in California?
We went to Knott's Berry Farm.
Okay. How long of a trip was that?
Just a few days.
Was it a Thanksgiving trip of some kind?
Yes.
Okay. And then what was your father's plans after that weekend?
He was going to go live in Hawaii.
Okay. And was that going to be a permanent?
Pause. First of all, I don't know when we found this out, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong. We just found out in either Lori or Brandon's or somebody's trial, we know for a fact that Lori was there. Right? I did not make that up. I know I did not make that up because that's too shocking and I wouldn't throw that in there. If they just went together on a trip after that, whatever. That's not for me to judge. It's the fact that Lori was there and we know that for a fact. So somebody tell me if I'm wrong.
Permanent move?
No,
Temporary.
that's what he said.
Okay. And was there any secrecy applied to that meeting? Was there any way that he was trying to conceal where he was going or what he was doing?
No.
Okay. So it was public airline tickets,
Yes.
public transportation,
Yes.
public hotels.
Yes.
Okay. Public planning.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Lori was there.
And
We
at
just
some
we
point,
know
was
that.
someone else planning
Like
on
it's
going on that trip with
factual that Lori was there, right?
you?
Yes. Lori Vallow attended with us.
Okay. Did she drive from Rexburg, St. Anthony area with you folks to Salt Lake City?
She did not leave the same time we did. And She
Okay.
did not leave from the same location.
Okay. Do you know where she left from?
I do not.
Do you know when she arrived with you in California?
She arrived later that night, about 12 hours after we had left. She arrived by vehicle.
Okay. Did you ever find out why she was not going with you folks for the drive to Salt Lake and then the plane trip from Salt Lake to California?
She told me that she was with.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
She told me that she was
Hang on.
with. Oh, sorry.
Hang on.
Can answer that.
Was there a discussion with her about what she was planning on doing prior to arriving in California?
Objection, Your Honor. This still calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Was there at any time, did you learn at any time what Lori Vallow was doing before she arrived at California?
Objection, Your Honor. This still calls for hearsay.
You can't ask the same question.
Response,
though.
Mr. Pryor.
It doesn't call for hearsay. I'm asking whether she learned of something, Judge. I'm not asking what she said to her.
Your Honor, may I voir dire native objection?
No, I'll overrule the objection. She can answer.
Did you at any time learn of where Lori Vallow was doing on the before she arrived in California?
She told me that she was.
Hang on. I don't want you to say what she told you, whether you learned information.
I learned that.
Objection, Your Honor. This is why it calls for hearsay.
It's a good
Judge,
point.
I'm not again asking for what
You
Ms. Vallow may
did.
have said.
You did. Literally, yes, you did.
Although I think a statement of a co-conspirator, it comes in anyway.
Well, that is true. Co-conspirator statements do come in.
Your Honor, not from, only as a party opponent. So the state would still object. This calls for hearsay. It's not based on personal knowledge.
Judge, there's no indication that Ms. Vallow is on my side or in any way in support of.
Your Honor, case law is clear.
All right.
Judge, would this
Let
be
me-
time to take a break?
Yeah, I don't want to have continued argument over this in the juror's presence. I want to make sure that we're going into these types of issues. I get clear.
I can't. I'm getting literally so angry. Tess said, "Swear barrel fun because Emma is making us all curse like Captain Jack Sparrow. I want to sit from Captain Morgan, or maybe it's just me." I agree. If there was ever a time for a freaking daiquiri off the Carnival cruise, it's now. Okay, I've told you guys a story. I'm gonna lighten up the mood because I need a fucking break from this. This is so stupid. They went on a trip right after as a family. It's, oh my gosh. When we were on a cruise, I was 11 or 12 and my mom and Charles, okay, no, fuck her. Her name's Lori. Okay. She's a egg donor. She and Charles bought us these bands that were drink bands on our Carnival cruise. I think it was our first cruise, I want to say. And we did not know that they did not cover daiquiris. So we ordered virgin daiquiris. And at that time, my stepbrother and I were just on the deck, and I would just, they come over and ask if you want anything. So we had sodas, free sodas for the whole time. You could just, many sodas as you want. And me and my stepbrother, specifically me, just kept, every time a waiter or waitress walked by and they had a tray, it'd say another daiquiri. And so strawberry banana daiquiris were flowing. And I'm telling you, at the end of the trip, there was a bill for every one of the $8 daiquiris that we were drinking. And let's just say my parents were not happy about that. So I don't know why I'm shocked. I say this every stream, but to hear the reality of this group is crazy. This is how do you go on vacation together and then blame her as if you guys weren't cool? Would that not just be like, okay, he was cheating. It's fine. It's fine. Here's our new mom. Here she comes.
Ruling before we continue with objections in front of the jurors. So why don't we go ahead and take the morning recess a little earlier for 20 minutes here, and then I'll hear additional voir dire on this and argument in aid of objection if there is any, and we'll make a ruling before we get back on with additional testimony. So that'll be the time for the morning recess, and we'll go ahead and take the break now.
And may she be excused to, at this point, she's coming back. May she be excused?
She can step off the stand and
Thank
take a
you.
break also, just not to in aid of your objection.
District Lexus 9895, be the party.
All right. Are we still here? Still stuck here?
Mother's service. Were you present? I want to go to the issue of the planning of your mother's service. Were you present at the time for the planning of that service?
Yes.
Who was present at that time?
When we first talked about choosing a day for the funeral, we were meeting with the mortician, and
Who was that?
it was from he was from Flam Funeral Home. I don't recall his name.
Okay.
And-
Were you given a couple of options as to when to have the service?
Yes.
And what were those days?
They gave us the choice of Tuesday and Saturday. There were other customers that the funeral home was helping, and those were the only days that
Customers? You mean grieving people who lost somebody, who are having a funeral? I would not call a funeral person a customer.
they were available to have her ready by.
Okay, so I want to clarify something. Your mother passed on that Friday, Saturday.
Yes.
You're not talking the actual Saturday where the unfortunate time you've discovered your mother. You're talking a week later?
Yes, 7 days after that.
So was that a family discussion as to whether or not you would do it on the Tuesday or the Saturday?
Yes.
And then the decision to have the funeral in and I'm going to hack the town again, Springville.
Yes.
Is that the name of the town again?
Yep. Springville.
Spring Creek, Springville. I'm going to mess this up. So please forgive me.
It's
So the
not that
decision-
hard. Springville.
To have it in Springville, was that also a family discussion?
Yes.
And the decision was made for Springville as opposed to Rexburg. Why?
My mother had lived in Springville far longer than she had lived in Rexburg, and her family still lived there. And there was a family plot in the cemetery, so it just seemed like the natural decision to bury her there.
Okay. Okay. I want to go back a little bit about the outdoors and your mother's participation in the outdoor activities around the property. Can you elaborate a little bit about what your mother's primary interest and role was in terms of the outdoors?
She loved to nurture things, so taking care of animals and gardening and growing plants. She really wanted to have a strawberry patch and raspberries. She liked cute little critters like ducks and chickens and rabbits, and she would take care of them.
Now, in terms
She's
of
so sweet. All of you are not.
managing the pet cemetery, was that your father's role or your mother's role to manage that?
My mother's.
Okay, and she was the one primarily responsible?
Yes.
So your father didn't necessarily go there and participate in anything with the pet cemetery. Would that be fair?
Yes, that's fair.
Okay, so anything that changed or anything that was modified in terms of the pet cemetery, would your mother be aware of it?
She would be aware.
Okay. Okay. And you recall that you've seen some evidence, actually the news, it's been all over the news, about an email that your father sent to your mother on September 9th, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Fryer, quick sidebar, please.
Watch the way you say this shit.
Pet cemetery, is that correct?
All right, Mr. Pryor, please continue.
You recall reading an email on September 9th about shooting some raccoons and burying it in the pet cemetery, is that correct?
It was a text message, I believe, but yes, I did.
Would it be unusual for your father to send your mother a message if he was involved in the something involving the pet cemetery?
Objection, Your Honor. May I have voir native objection?
You may.
Miss Murray, did your parents tell you about every message they ever sent each other?
No,
Did you look at their phone records routinely?
no,
Did you look through their phones routinely?
no.
Your Honor, this would call for speculation. I'm going to object.
Sustained.
Again, it was your mother's primary responsibility to manage the pet cemetery, correct?
Yes.
And it would be, if your father were to do something in the pet cemetery, would it be unusual for your father to have to let your mother know that he was doing something?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
I'll move on, Judge. You mentioned that you lived kitty corner to the your dad's house. Is that correct?
Yes.
And has there been occasions when you folks have also encountered issues with animals on the property?
Yes.
And in some of those instances, were those animals buried as a result of being shot
Yes.
on your property?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have any knowledge about animals being shot on your dad's property as a result of issues with either livestock or otherwise?
Yes.
Okay. And some of the animals that were on your father's property at the time, can you go through the list of different type of animals that were on your father's property at that time?
There were a lot of cats. We live right by a busy highway. And so all throughout, there's stray cats that get hit, and my mother would feel bad for them. And they weren't even our cat, and they'd get buried. And some pet dogs, raccoons, skunks, rabbits, ducks, chickens, sometimes sparrows even too.
And your mother was a kind and considerate person,
Yes.
and she felt that that was the reason for why she erected the pet cemetery. Is that correct?
Even if it was a pest animal, she didn't want them to be disrespected.
Now, I noticed that when you ran off the laundry list of animals, that during the time period of, let's start with the beginning of November, or beginning of 2019 through at the time when your father was accused of this, are you aware of whether or not your father owned a dog?
My father did not own a dog. He does not like dogs.
So there was no dog on the property at that point. Is that
You know
correct?
why? Because dogs
Correct.
sense
That they owned.
Oh,
things. They sense bad people. Dogs smell it on them. And that dog would have probably not liked Chad. So
that they owned, yes.
You guys had a dog across the street, right?
We did.
Okay. And you don't know whether Regan Price and her family had dogs, right?
They sometimes have, but I wasn't sure at that time if they did.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your feelings about law enforcement in this case. And there's been some mention previously about your, at least indicating that you had some difficulty with law enforcement. Can you explain that to me?
Yes, when I first, I heard from Garth that a detective had come in.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Okay, you can't say what Garth told you, but I want to talk about your personal experiences in dealing with law enforcement and how you felt about that.
I was aware of an event that had happened with my brother, and I wanted to learn more about it. So I contacted the same detective that had talked to him.
Now, in an instant, was it that same detective who talked to you about the exhumation of your mother?
Yes,
And who was that detective?
Detective Hope.
Now, do you recall when you had that discussion about the exhumation of your mother?
December 13th, 2019.
Okay. And at that time, was it your indication that your mother had not been exhumed?
Yes, I thought she was resting in peace, just like we left her.
Okay. And was the subject of the discussion with Officer Hope that your mother in the future would be exhumed?
He said it had already happened.
Okay. And was that the first time you heard about it?
Yes.
And if you need to take a break, you tell me. Okay.
she doesn't have any, she's not going to need to take a break. I promise you that.
At any time prior to your mother being exhumed, did anybody from law enforcement ever tell you that your mother was being exhumed?
No.
Did you ever hear from your mother's family in Springville that they were going to exhume your mother from the ground?
No, nobody knew.
Okay. And to your knowledge, the amount of time, do you have any information as to the amount of time from the minute they started the exhumation to when she was placed back in her grave? How much period of time that was?
At the time, I didn't know.
Okay. Were you ever misled about whether there was going to be an exhumation or not after the exhumation took place?
No,
You were never misled?
I don't understand the question.
Okay.
I
Did
don't
an
understand
officer
the
ever
question
tell
either.
you that they were going to do an exhumation even though it had already occurred?
Yes,
Who was that?
Detective Hope.
Okay.
Leading. Should have stopped it on leading. Right there.
At any time, did the events that led up to your father's arrest cause you to have concern about law enforcement?
Yes,
What kind of
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you not pay attention? You're mad at law enforcement for arresting your father for having murdered human beings on his property, and then they exhumed your mother because they were concerned that she did not have a natural death. Okay. Fucking bullshit.
What concerns did you have with law enforcement?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Did you feel like you were at any time under scrutiny as part of this case?
Yes.
What sort of situations was it that felt that you were placed under scrutiny?
Any interaction I had with law enforcement.
Okay, was there an occasion at a gym that caused you particular concern?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Overruled.
Was there a particular situation at a gym that caused you particular concern?
Yes.
What was that situation?
I went to exercise with my sister-in-law
Who
and
was the sister-in-law?
Michaela Daybell,
Okay, that would be who's,
my brother Seth's wife.
okay. I can't keep all of you straight, I'm sorry. And then what transpired at that point? What did you observe?
We were in a section of the gym with lightweight dumbbells, and Detective Hermosillo came and started exercising near us. And it seemed like a part of the gym that would have been too easy for him, and he stood closer to us than felt
Objection,
comfortable.
Your Honor, this is calling for speculation.
Judge, she's describing an event, not speculating about anything.
Yeah, I'm sure Ray wanted to be as close to you as possible. His goal was to lift near you because he just needed a whiff.
It's overruled.
Go ahead.
He was standing closer to us than felt comfortable, and it felt like he was trying to listen in on our conversation.
Were there other occasions, either at church or otherwise, where you felt that people were maybe judging you?
Yes.
Give me an example.
I had a detective from Madison County confront me in the hallway at church.
Okay. And was that an uncomfortable situation?
It was really uncomfortable, and I haven't attended that congregation since.
And was that a situation where your role at the church was what at the time?
I was asked to help teach young children in the nursery. And my daughter was in that class, so I was really excited to.
Did this particular
Do not be teaching those kids anything your father taught you. That would be a huge concern. The church should be looking and vetting who is in those positions.
detective have some sort of authority over the church or a position in the church that allowed him to dictate whether you were schooling young children or not?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
And Judge, if I could have just a moment, please.
You may.
No, you cannot.
Did you have an occasion to meet with that same Detective Hope at your school?
Yes,
Do you recall when that was?
I only met with him one time.
Okay. Do you recall what the nature of that conversation was?
The idea was I wanted to ask him what was going on, why he was contacting members of my family.
In what regard?
He was asking where my dad was, and we gave him my dad's phone number and told him he was in Hawaii, but they said that they had no way of contacting him. That seemed untrue.
Because you had previously provided that phone
We
information?
provided contact information, and they said he was in hiding, but we told them where he was
And when do you recall telling them where your dad was in Hawaii?
at that meeting.
Okay. So a suggestion that you felt that the suggestion that they weren't able to locate your dad and that he was somehow running or hiding was inaccurate?
Yes.
How?
Okay.
How, Sway? They broke into the house looking for stuff. They knew they ran away, and Hawaii is a bunch of chains of islands, dog. It's not one little tiny place. You could put me in Kauai and say somebody's here. I wouldn't find that motherfucker for who knows how long. Do you understand that that's not telling them anything? And I'm pretty sure Chad and Lori probably told them what the situation was, and they knew how to specifically not tell them where they were in Hawaii. Oh yeah, they're in Hawaii. That's like me saying, yep, they're in California. Yeah, they're not hiding. They're in California.
I talked to you about the day that you were present for your dad being arrested. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Do you know the day that was?
June 9th.
Okay. And on that particular day, we've previously seen some videotape of you approaching your father, and it was an emotional situation. Do you recall that?
Yes.
I want to talk to you a little bit about how the car was positioned in relation to the property, your father's property.
It was parked parallel on the side of the road,
What road was that? Do you recall?
200 North.
Okay. So if the car was pointed towards Salem Highway, the nose of it, correct?
Yes.
And the rear was parked down 200, correct?
Yes.
So it was pulled over on the side of the road. If someone were to look out the right side of the car window, what would you be looking at?
The house.
if someone were to be looking and turning and looking behind the seat, back towards the trunk or that corner, what would they be looking at?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Overruled.
What would they be looking at?
Whatever was behind the car.
It wouldn't be by turning around and looking back, you wouldn't be looking at the property, would you?
No.
Okay. Now, there was an occasion that during this investigation of your father's property that your father was over at your home that day. Is that correct?
Yes.
By the way, that's when she got Chad's wallet from him because he gave her, remember, he transferred that money over. We just found all this out. This is crazy. Like the timing, all the stuff. So remember, Chad sent out $8 grand to all 3 of his oldest children, maybe more. I don't remember. I do specifically remember he transferred $8,000 to Emma, Garth, and I think the other oldest son. I don't remember. But they all got $8,000, I think, that morning while they were searching the property. So right before that, he sent them all money literally that morning. I think it was exactly that morning. And then, because he was in the car, and that's when he knew he was going to jail. So he sends them all this money. And then she takes his wallet from him because he's not going to need it. And then she says, don't worry, we're not like Colby. And we can take care of ourselves. So that's where that whole dancing video came from, because I remember hearing that way back. But to even think that you are self-efficient after you bought a $200 truck from your dad and he gave you $8,000 before he went to jail for murdering my family and your mom. I'm so glad you're all so self-efficient. Congratulations on that.
And did you have a discussion with your father about what he was intending to do?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion to observe him leave the house?
Yes.
Did he leave the house at that time? And I'm going to use a phrase, flee the scene?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Did you observe your father racing off at a high rate of speed once he left the house?
But the speed limit's 50 miles per hour. I saw him drive that speed.
Okay, and he
Yeah,
left the
I'm
house.
sure your eyes have fucking radars built in.
And did it appear to you that he was in a hurry?
No.
Okay. Now
No, he's casually going to Walmart. They searched the property. They found my family, and he's just heading out for errands. He's going 50. He's not leaving.
have a recollection of who he was going to see, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And who was he going to see?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
He's going to
Was
see
there a
you.
discussion with you being present that he was going to visit a lawyer?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, move the strike, calls for hearsay, leading.
Sustained, and I'll strike the question, and the jury's disregard that question.
But in any event, your father was not.
Objection, Your Honor, this is going to call for speculation.
I agree, and it's leading, so sustained.
Okay. Did you observe your father speeding off from the house on the day of June 9th?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained.
And again, Judge, if I could have a minute.
No, thank you.
Directed and be with our family, Latter-day Saint husband.
The house on the day of June 9th.
Objection, Your Honor, ask and answer.
That's some stupid stuff right here. It cannot be this ridiculous. It cannot. Why are you defending him, bro? Like, why?
On the day of
Just
your
wake up.
mother's funeral, how would you describe your father's reaction?
Typical for any grieving Latter-day Saint husband.
Does that mean?
What the hell does that mean? What's a typical grieving Latter-day Saint?
He cried. He also seemed happy at moments.
And when you say typical, what do you mean? Is that typical?
Latter-day Saints believe that we will be resurrected and be with our families forever. So a funeral isn't saying goodbye forever. It's a see you later. It's a break.
Didn't Lori bring cookies to the funeral? I'm pretty sure that made him pretty happy.
Okay.
And guess what? Lori is a fuck too. So it's not like I'm sitting here defending her. She's a horrible human being. Disgusting. She's even more at fault for all of this than anybody else. She's the mother of those children that her only job is to take care of them. And she is also was the wife to Charles. This is just as much as her fault as Chad's, but she's more responsible for Tylee and JJ than anybody else. Don't care what Alex or Chad did. She has one responsibility as a parent, is to take care of her children. The safety is hers. And she went the exact opposite and literally went and took their lives. So in no way, shape, or form would I sit here and fucking defend her sickness ever. And here we are acting like Chad was going, oh yeah, he's just going 50, just heading to go see a lawyer. Why'd you need a lawyer? That's weird. You didn't know that there was anything in your backyard, right? There's no pool project, none of that bullshit back there, right? There's nothing in your backyard. So why are you going to see a lawyer the second they start digging things up in your backyard? That's weird because you didn't know. You're framed, right? According to Emma and all of their siblings, Chad was framed. So why was he on his way to see a lawyer right as they were doing that? And why did he transfer thousands and thousands of dollars to all of you right before he got arrested?
So would it be fair to say that he had mixed emotions, both positive and negative emotions?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Overruled.
Would it be fair to say that he had mixed emotions?
Yes.
Just void of all logic. Stupid. So stupid. Okay. Finally. Oh, watch the demeanor change right now. Watch how mad she's going to start acting towards Lindsay and disrespectful. I guarantee you she comes off different. Because now these are the evil dark ones. This is the dark one. Here they come. Here they come, y'all. This is what they believe, is that these law enforcement are dark entities.
Miss Marie, is it okay if I call you Miss Marie?
Yes.
Mr. Pryor started off saying that he told you to tell the truth here today. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
And you said you'd met with
Oh, my gosh. This is going to be a choke slam.
Mr. Pryor maybe 3 times.
That I recall.
You've been talking with your dad almost daily over the last several years, correct?
Yes.
Lots of conversations with your dad.
Yes.
Do you recall your dad in early June of 2020 telling you not to cooperate with law enforcement?
I don't remember him saying that.
Shit.
You don't remember a phone call in which he relayed to you, probably better if you just don't cooperate?
I don't remember that.
Do you remember then telling the FBI
Yep.
you were not...
all of these people that are associated with Chad and Lori are just fucking forget everything. There's no sticking memories. It's just, oh, don't remember that. That didn't happen.
to meet with them anymore?
I chose not to do that because of counsel from another attorney.
But it was after having that conversation with your dad, correct?
No.
Was it after June 9th of 2020 that you told him that?
Yes.
After June 10th of 2020 that you told him that?
I don't remember.
Selective. Very selective memory.
Do you recall
Crazy.
visiting with your dad as well?
Yes.
Do you recall a visit on around November 23rd of last year?
Not specifically.
The lawyer said, don't screw this up.
Do you recall having a visit where you and your dad talked about that 5K race?
Yes.
And do you recall your dad telling you that you might want to say certain things?
No.
You don't recall that?
No.
No.
Do you recall then talking about a race in 2013?
Yes.
You recall your dad saying, once again, maybe say that?
No.
Do you recall your dad talking to you about the one that exercised with you at Zumba that Tammy wasn't able to keep up? She would just make up her own moves. Do you recall your dad telling you that?
No.
Oh, shit.
But you've had a lot of visits with your dad,
Yes.
so it may be hard to remember everything he's told you.
He's never told me to say anything.
Yeah, okay.
So you don't recall him telling you those things?
No.
I wonder if it's all recorded. Should we start playing it? If my mom would have told me one fucking time to cover for her, I would have been the biggest snitch you've ever met in your life. If I would have known a single major detail, I would have flipped on her faster than a pancake in a pan. I do not care, because wrong is wrong, period.
You talked about you were worried about your mom's health,
Yes.
but your mom went to a doctor, right? She'd been there for a wrist recently.
Just for the wrist.
Surprised you to learn that no mention of current anemia in her medical records?
Because she hadn't been to the doctor since 2017.
When did your mom go to the doctor for a wrist?
In 2019. That's
What the fucking... That's not 2017.
a
Okay.
2-year gap.
You just answer the question. So when did your mom go for her wrist?
In 2019.
Her medical records say nothing about current anemia. Does that surprise you?
Yes.
Her medical records say nothing about sleep apnea, correct?
I don't know.
Would it surprise you that they don't say anything about sleep apnea?
No.
I'm watching Chad right now.
talked about your mom going to bed early. Again, what time did you say she'd go to bed?
It varied depending on the day, but 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
Were you over at the residence when she'd go to bed?
Usually,
Would you go in and visit with her?
if she was awake.
Would you go watch her while she was in bed?
No,
So you don't know what she did when she went to bed. Fair to say?
fair.
So you don't know what she would do with the Fitbit when she went to bed, right?
I watched her do it several times.
Several times. You didn't watch her nightly go to bed.
I did not.
Lindsay's is destroying her bullshit.
You say your mom went to bed that early, 6, 7 at the latest. Is that your recollection?
Oh no.
On some nights,
That's
she
all my daughter says now is 6, 7. I know if you guys have kids, you're hearing it. It's every single day I hear 6, 7, 100 times.
probably stayed up later.
How much later?
I don't know.
Because you weren't there, right?
Correct.
So surprise you to learn that on October 18th, there was activity on her phone at 10:22 p.m.
No,
That's a lot later than 7.
she had been sick that night. I stay up later when I'm sick and have just thrown up as well.
Were you there that night?
No,
Did you see her
I
throw up?
fucking know.
no,
So you don't know.
nope.
Then why
You
the
only
fuck did you just lie?
Know what you were told.
Yes,
Lindsay's tearing her ass up. Just stop trying to cover for Chad. It's that simple.
You were asked about this.
Lindsay's not even mad at you. She just knows you're lying. And so it's as simple as that. Like, stop trying to cover for a dude who murdered your mom. How about that?
Book fair. You talked about your mom carrying a heavy box. Do you recall that?
yes,
But your mom was carrying the box, right?
yes,
So she was able to carry a box,
barely.
but she was doing it, correct?
Yes,
You were asked about who drives the Dodge Dakota. Do you recall that question?
yes.
Any reason why your husband would have referred to the truck keys as your mother's?
They had 2 sets. And the set that my husband used was my mom's.
Any reason why he would have to get those keys from your mom?
Yes.
Why was that?
He wanted to borrow the truck to work potato harvest, and she was the closest of my 2 parents to him.
So they both had keys to it,
Yes,
both access it,
yes,
both could drive it.
yes.
You talked about your mom playing on the Wii. Do you recall that?
Yes,
And what kind of game was that again?
an exercise game.
Did you see her do that a lot?
In 2018 and earlier.
Was that something that she enjoyed?
Yes,
Fair to say your mom enjoyed physical activity?
she enjoyed video games.
And when you say video games, some of them, you described the Wii. Were there other types of video games your mom liked?
Yes,
And what were those?
farming simulations, Pokemon.
Would she play those on her phone? Do you know?
Yes, and other handheld devices.
And then she liked to play the Wii as well.
Periodically.
And she took self-defense classes.
Not formal classes. It was with our church.
But was that a voluntary thing?
But you
Yes.
said she took those classes and then referred to the kickboxing, which does not classify. Neither one of those classifies self-defense. Self-defense is not a Wii game.
So she wanted to go do that.
Yes,
And that's physical activity.
yes,
She wanted to participate in Zumba, correct?
yes,
She wanted to do clogging.
yes.
She was training for a 5K.
No,
You say she wasn't training for a 5K.
she was not training for a 5K.
Why are you covering for him? Why?
Would it surprise you that other people said she was?
No,
We talked earlier a little
You
bit.
know what Chad's thinking? Good job. He is happy that you're doing this for him. And I don't know why I feel like I'm talking to her. I just hope for some reason she listens to any kind of a reason that this man has been abusing you and your siblings your entire life, mentally, probably, and emotionally. I don't know about physically, but I promise you that he has forced his beliefs down all of your guys' throats to the point of this, where you're willing to lie for him. It's really disgusting. It's disgusting behavior.
You weren't privy to all your mom and dad's communications, right?
no,
You weren't privy to all your mom's conversations that she'd have with people, correct?
correct.
So at school, she may have conversations when you weren't around, right?
Yes,
She may tell people things that you have no idea she told them, right?
yes,
And council talked to you about an insurance policy that was increased. Do you recall that?
yes,
And you said your mom did that on her own.
Yes.
Why would your dad's signature on the application?
I think she took out insurance on him.
Your Honor, may I be handed State's Exhibit 151?
Yes.
By the way, yeah, if you're talking about Pokemon Go, remember, was a very, very active game. You couldn't go. It's a physical game because you have to go to locations. It's not just like a handheld like world. Pokemon Go, as you guys remember, was viral in like, I don't know, 2016-ish, maybe 2015, 2016. You have to go to literal locations.
And Your
in a
Honor, may I
car
ask that the witness
or
be shown
somewhere
this exhibit?
and physically find them in locations. So you have to walk and do all kinds of. It's basically an adventure game in the real world.
You may. I'll have the marshal please retrieve that.
And I don't know if counsel needs to see this as well.
I'm good, Judge. Thank you. I'm good. No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Miss Murray, if you can just look that over.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I be handed that exhibit?
Yes, I'll have the bailiff retrieve that, please.
And permission to publish from the Elmo.
You may publish.
I can never see the exhibits. I can't. It's just too blurry. I'm gonna have to put a TV in the studio so I can blow up the image that I
And Miss
see.
Murray, can you see which company this is through?
Yes.
And what company is that?
Life map.
And then do you see kind of towards the bottom a box marked with an amount?
Yes.
And what is that box?
80,000.
80, not 88, not 880,000. I can't see that.
And then is this back page the page you were just looking at?
Yes.
And Miss Murray, I believe you indicated that your parents would share their passwords with each other.
Yes.
So is it fair to say that they could access each other's accounts?
Yes.
So your dad could delete emails or block contacts on your mom's account?
If he knew how.
And counsel talked to you about when you learned your mother had been exhumed. Again, do you recall approximately when you learned that?
Yes.
And when was that again?
December 13th.
And you talked about a meeting that you had with Detective Hope. Is it that same meeting?
Yes.
And do you recall at that meeting, Detective Hope inquiring of you or letting you know that they were still concerned with the whereabouts of JJ Vallow?
Yes.
Do you recall him telling you that they were still looking for him?
Yes.
You
How much
talked
do you think that they cared about those kids? 0.
about seeing Detective Hermosillo at
You know what I would never do? And this is just personal. I wouldn't live in a house where a bunch of people were either found dead or died, quote unquote. I'd leave immediately. Couldn't stay it. And then I wouldn't walk an interviewer to the exact spots where I knew their bodies were dug up for hours. That's what I wouldn't do.
the gym sometime. Do you recall approximately when that was?
It was after my dad had been arrested, so sometime after 2020 or during that year.
And when you met with Detective Hope, do you recall him telling you that all he wanted to see was JJ was safe and find out where he was located?
Yes.
Do you recall indicating that you were in contact with your dad at that time?
Yes.
Did you ever ask your dad where JJ Vallow was?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
He told me that he was in a safe place.
Did you ever ask your dad where Tylee Ryan was?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
In a safe place.
Do you know where JJ and Tylee were found?
Yes.
Where?
In the backyard
Of whose property?
of my dad's property.
Was that safe? That's a safe place, right?
You indicated that you live kitty corner to your parents, or that you did live kitty corner to your parents' residence. Is that right?
Yes, I used to.
What direction was that from your parents' residence?
It was towards Rexburg, which I believe is to the southwest.
And you indicated that on September 8th, you were searching for southwest wind.
Yes,
So you happened to be searching for southwest wind the last day Tylee Ryan was seen alive,
yes,
the day before Alex Cox or a device associated with him was on your dad's property,
yes,
the day before your dad sent your mom a message about shooting a raccoon and burning limbs on that property.
yes.
I wonder why.
We talked about your dad, some of the things that he would teach you, including light and dark. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Have you tried to discern light and dark?
yes,
Did your dad ever teach you about zombies?
no,
Did he ever teach you about castings?
yes,
And I think you talked about your mom doing something like that.
yes,
Is that correct?
yes.
Would you qualify that as a casting?
What my mother would do?
Yes.
Yes,
And you said that it helped you.
yes,
Are you still alive?
yes,
Did your dad teach you about multi-creations?
yes,
But you said he didn't teach you about zombies.
yes,
I think you said your dad was passionate and he enjoyed talking about his views.
yes,
Your dad ever talked to you about death percentages?
yes,
Did your dad ever talk to you about people being close to death?
yes,
Do you recall any specific people your dad talked to you about being close to death?
yes.
And who was that?
Well, my mom was one of the people, but it was not death so much as how connected your spirit was to your body. My mom would feel lightheaded and say she didn't feel quite connected to herself, and they would reconnect her spirit to her body.
That doesn't work like that. You don't, your spirit doesn't kind of like wiggle out of your body and then someone grabs it and puts it back in you as if you were like falling out of your body. That would be considered death. So I get lightheaded sometimes when I have to pick up my kids' toys. My body is not, my spirit's not leaving my body.
When your dad would talk to you about castings, did he explain to you anything about the body having to die?
No,
Explain anything to you about the body having to be destroyed?
no,
And again, didn't talk to you about zombies.
no,
Were you privy to all your dad's conversations with people?
no.
But your dad liked to share his views, correct?
Yes.
Your dad ever talked to you about Alex Cox?
No,
Did your dad ever talk to you about Lori Vallow before your mom passed away?
no,
So you don't know what he talked to Lori and Alex about.
I don't.
And counsel talked to you about some of the books your dad writes. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Have you read a lot of his books?
all of them.
So are you aware in his autobiography that he indicates the visions in his books are true? Things
Ye-
that he's seen?
Yes,
And is it fair to say the books or were they sold at religious bookstores?
yes,
So some people may have put more stock into them.
yes,
And you, counsel talked to you about priesthood blessings a little bit. Do you recall that?
yes,
And I think you made the statement, a man living the covenants would be worthy or could give a priesthood.
I read it with the frickin' mic off. It says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Ephesians 5:25. Best thing a father can do for his children is respect their mother in life and death, and so are their children. So realistically, if you told your family that your wife is gonna die or she's going to she's going to die early, or she's going to pass away, or her spirit's in limbo and all that stuff, why would you not go and read and pray against that, or you look deeper into your religion, your LDS religion, and kind of just check that, you know? I don't know. I just feel like that alone, you shouldn't just take him at his word.
Blessing.
Yes.
Is committing adultery living the covenants?
No.
When did you learn that your dad was having an affair with Lori Vallow?
After he was arrested.
Was it quite a while after he was arrested?
So you didn't know that he went and got married in Hawaii, moved to Hawaii, or Lori showing up with you on a family trip, or coming over to your house multiple times, or bringing cookies to your mom's thing? She's just a good friend, right?
Arrested?
Well, I heard about things in the news after Lori was arrested in February of 2020, but I learned more after he was arrested, very shortly after, once again, the news.
Do you recall participating in an interview where you indicated that you didn't believe he'd had a physical affair?
Yes.
And that was about sometime in 2021?
Yes.
Did you know of the physical affair at that point?
No.
So it was sometime after that that you learned of the physical affair?
Yes.
There you go. That clears up what we were talking about earlier. Imagine you've
And then
lived
I do want to talk to you a
in
little.
Idaho with your family for a long time. You have grandchildren, mind you. So not only are you leaving your children, your grown children, but you're leaving your grandchildren now to move to Hawaii for what reason? If that did not make sense. Yep, moving to Hawaii. Dad's moving to Hawaii. Okay.
A little bit about the day that your mom passed away. Were you present at the residence when 911 was first called?
No.
When you arrived at the residence, who else was there?
My father, my older brother Garth, my husband, sheriff's deputy. There may have been two, but I remember one that walked with me from my house. And the coroner was, I think, arriving the same time that I was. I can't remember if she was there before me or not.
Is it fair to say your dad had conversations possibly outside of your presence?
Yes.
Were you there when your dad was providing your mom's medical history to Deputy Greenalch, the officer?
Yes.
Were you there when he provided it to Deputy Coroner Cammie Wilmore?
Yes.
And were you there when he provided it to Coroner Brenda Dye?
Yes.
Did you provide any statements about your mom's health at that time?
I don't remember.
You said that you had serious concerns about her health, though, right?
Yes.
But you don't remember if you said anything.
She wasn't talking to me, so I didn't answer her.
At any point, did you reach out to law enforcement to tell them about any concerns you had about your mom's medical conditions?
It wasn't a crime, so no.
You were asked about when your mom was exhumed. Did you know there was going to be an autopsy?
I assumed there would be.
Did you reach out to anyone then to let them know of your concerns?
Family members.
Did you reach out to law enforcement?
No, I didn't feel like they would help me since they were the ones conducting it.
But you didn't reach out to them with any concerns?
No.
And you said you didn't want your mom to get an autopsy. Is that correct?
Correct.
Once you learned she'd had one, did you want to see the results?
I did.
Do you recall law enforcement coming to meet with you and you telling them, nope, I don't want to know?
I didn't say that.
Do you recall telling them you didn't want to know?
I don't recall that, so no.
Do you recall not being willing to have them share with you the results of the autopsy?
Judge asked and answered. It's just in a variety of different ways.
Overruled.
Do you recall indicating you did not want to sit down or that you were unwilling to sit down and have them share the autopsy results with you?
But no,
You don't recall that?
that's not what I said.
What did you say?
Now you
I told them
recall
I
it.
didn't want to interview with them. I wanted to see the results, and I did not want to discuss it with them.
And do you recall them indicating you wouldn't have to do an interview? They were just going to share the results with you.
They never said that.
Did you in fact decline to see the autopsy?
No, they never offered to let me see it without interviewing with them.
So you were unwilling to sit down with law enforcement?
In that instance, yes.
Why is that? Lindsay is knows.
I think you talked about the morning of your mom's passing, it was difficult to see your dad not in control and in charge.
Yes.
Was it pretty common for your dad to be in control and in charge?
Yes, as the patriarch of our home.
You were moved out. How he wasn't your
And you were
patriarch
asked
anymore? You
about-
would have been married.
How your dad seemed when your mom passed away. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did your dad ever share with you a text to Lori
No.
that was sent on less than 24 hours after your mother's passing on October 20th of 2019?
My dad didn't share text messages with me.
So would it surprise you to learn that your dad texted that he was sad, but not for the reasons everyone thought?
Well, when I
Say
first,
yes or no.
Oh.
Would it surprise you to learn that?
No.
So it's okay for him to be sad, but he's not sad for every reason that everybody thinks it is. He clear as day said, I'm not sad because Tammy's gone. I'm sad because I'm not with you.
And counsel talked to you about the events of June 9th of 2020. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And do you recall speaking with your dad on that morning?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I'm going to ask to be handed State's Exhibit 300.
Very well.
I'm gonna skip if there's any more pauses because we're almost to Garth's. We have 22 minutes, which I'm assuming Pryor's coming back at some point to throw something in here. Lindsay is going at her because it's, you know, we all feel it. We don't need
Okay.
to argue about it. It's right here in front of us.
Sorry if I may have just a moment.
Man. There we go. Fast forwarding, guys. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh my goodness gracious. He's got a University of Hawaii hat on that my mom no doubt bought him. You can
Thank
tell.
you. For some reason, it did not like my computer today. So now starting from 1 hour, 2 minutes, 56 seconds.
Dr. Cat, just stay here with her. So you understand why I have to do that?
Yes.
So you just stay here with them. Okay.
Hi. They said I could talk with you and I didn't want you to be alone. I love you so much.
But you came over.
I thought they had taken you downtown already.
I got them out to the Fremont County line.
I saw it as soon as you left. They chased you down and then they came back.
Oh, they chased you down, but I thought you were going 50 miles an hour. They chased you. Why'd they chase you? I thought you were going the speed limit.
Ron,
Ron,
Just concerning the car,
Huh?
I know they,
asked him about
okay,
it.
what's that?
just about the car.
Oh, we'll take care of the car. We're gonna take it.
Is she able
and then
to
we'll-
get it?
you should- Yeah, you can do that. We may have to go through the car, if you're arrested in it,
Right.
things we gotta do, but then she can.
She can have her bananas and her,
I gave him
First.
food.
We'll try to get the car first for you.
So
He
funny,
needed
right?
it.
Yeah, we're in good spirits. We're in good spirits. We're all friends.
So Eric, or Ron, so like my wallet, will that be able for her to pick up, or could I turn that over to her right now?
Is that in the car? Is that here?
It's right here.
That's it's up to you. I don't see. Can I look through it? Just make
Sure.
They're going to get marked.
Lisa?
No,
Oh,
Garth.
Is there anything you're gonna need in that?
They just found bodies, children's bodies in his backyard. And this is his demeanor and her demeanor. It says a lot to you.
Well, she'll be running my finances, I suppose, so that has a little money on it. You could,
Okay. So these are credit cards, so you're good if she just takes it,
yeah.
correct?
In the middle drawer on the left side in Mark's room, there's about $9,000 in 2 white envelopes.
Okay.
So get that.
So another $9,000. Another $9,000 outside of the wire transfers of $8,000. So we are now at $17,000 right off the bat, plus all of his money from his wallet. But you are very independent and take care of yourself, right? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll talk more about car payments and stuff, but you have that password.
I do.
I believe the
That's this one.
First Hawaiian Bank, if you use that same password for this account, it's Chad Daybell. That's what I was thinking.
Is that your password? Is your name? Please tell me that's not your password, because that's as dumb as it gets.
The producer did. This has nothing on it. It's like $6. That has to go away. So this, okay, in that same drawer is a piece of this that would fit in here, and it's got a company business card. And so just make sure you get that.
And this is all in Mark's room.
Yeah, I put that in there. There's a pamphlet with a guy who's sitting in a car. It's for the Wells Fargo auto loan.
That's the loan that they went on.
Yeah, and so that we'll talk about. So this has, if you go to Telmate, this is the card that's used.
Okay.
And so all you really do, you could probably just sign in as Chad.Daybell or start your own.
I have an account that I've been talking with Lori on.
Okay.
Boom! You've been talking to Lori. Huh. You already been just chatting it up with your new mommy, right? Yeah, we are nothing alike. You are damn freaking right about that.
But you could use this
To
card,
add money to
yeah,
it.
and to her if needed.
Okay.
So yeah, she'll need to still have commissary money. Usually puts 30 a week in there. So, and you can
So
probably
she
talk
needs
to her.
commissary money, which is now whose responsibility? Emma's. Now she's gonna take care of Lori and Chad. Okay. But you barely know her. You don't know her.
Mhm. I'm sorry.
I love you so much.
He hasn't said I love you one time.
Cooperate with them as much as you feel. I mean,
As you feel.
They've been kind to us today.
You're hugging him knowing what they found in the backyard, right? Okay.
I texted John Pryor, so he has my number. He said thank you.
okay. And a lot of the company stuff that pays for the house should just auto pay still out of that company account.
Hey.
And I left 5,000 in there.
Here.
Okay.
If you need some, come find me.
$5,000 is also in that account that she has access to.
Thank you.
Any other questions you have?
That's
I
what,
think
22 grand available to her right now?
sounds like you're not gonna be out for a little
Right.
while. So I think my landlord texted me just to feel bad for me. I think I'm gonna come over here.
That's what I needed you to say, because, yeah, you and Joe, and whatever Mark wants to do, he should stay with either you
I'll
or me.
take care of Mark. He'll take care of me. I will, Dad. They'll take care of me. We'll take care of you the best we can. Sorry to interrupt.
So keep paying the mortgage out of the company.
Okay,
No, you can probably set it up though.
okay.
I'm trying to, it's a Wells Fargo. In that same pamphlet. Remember the password.
I'll look,
But-
but I've had a lot of success with mom stuff. Just saying, will you help me? My mom died. I'm pretty sure. Will you help me? My dad's in jail. That's his name.
It should be
Is that
paid
fucking funny? How are you laughing about any of this?
through July 1st.
Okay.
And I think the car is paid through July 15th. So you shouldn't have any bills to worry about. Yeah, I'm not coming back. So all that stuff that's in
Why
the
aren't you coming back? You're innocent. By your standard, all of you guys have agreed you're innocent and that you're being framed by Lori. Why would you say I'm not coming back? It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
baby room is Lori's and mine. The suitcases you'll see in the box. Just put it in the garage, I guess, after.
Store it. See what happens.
You guys can, yeah, take that mattress from upstairs, I guess, do what you want, put the books back on the shelf. We're gonna make it through. I'm glad we could talk. I'm glad they let you come over.
I started crying and Lieutenant Ball went, do you want to talk to him? And I'm like, can I? He said, he's just over there. Like, oh, that changes things. You probably saw us out there.
Yeah, I was watching. So, boy, things will slow down for you guys. You get left alone. But yeah, they'll let you move out of there. You just get over here. You get Garth.
Well, I
Still feels better.
I'd be moving soon. That's what the spirit was telling me, but I didn't know
That's not the Holy Spirit.
how it. I felt like I needed to learn more,
Hmm.
and now I get it.
What did you need to learn? The Spirit was telling you what, and you needed to learn what?
So yeah, this is essentially your house, and we'll talk to Joan Pryor about the financial arrangement, but you should be fine for a while.
I think long enough to get on our feet.
And stopping at 111.54. Do you recall this conversation with your dad?
Yes.
And when you first walked up, your dad didn't ask you if you knew why he was arrested, did he?
No.
Why do you say he's not coming back?
Do you recall a conversation in there about moving a mattress from upstairs and putting the books on the shelves or something along those?
Yes.
Where was the upstairs?
It was in the top of the cozy cone.
So there was a mattress in there?
He had just barely put it there. Typically, no one lived up there. It's like the one time of year that the temperature actually cooperated. There just wasn't room at the house. There's a lot of people living there at the time.
So there was an upstairs that had room for a mattress, though?
Yeah.
And there was some talk in there about some cash that he wanted you to have. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And he talked to you about how to pay the mortgage
Yes.
and talked to you about letting you take the car.
Yes.
And prior to that, or around the same time, do you recall him making an $8,000 deposit into your account?
Yes.
Yeah, that morning. So let's do that math. 8,000 plus 9,000 plus what was the other amount? Was it 5 in the business account that she has access to, plus all the cash in his wallet, plus any of his banking stuff he handed over to her right then, that day, the same day.
Do you recall conversation that day about a body being located?
Yes.
And do you recall then a conversation about a second body being looked for?
A conversation with my dad?
Yes.
Yes.
Whose bodies were those?
Tylee Ryan and JJ Ballo.
I have nothing further.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Pryor, redirect.
Yeah, I don't have any
151.
respect. I don't have respect for them. I really thought they didn't know as much, and maybe I just kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt, or maybe kind of been like, yeah, well, maybe their dad has indoctrinated them their whole life. You still can choose right and wrong. And the demeanor, the callousness, all of the information that you had, and that whole comment about the spirit, and now you get it, and all of this stuff, and all of it is really telling to me.
Okay, we've got that. We'll have it presented.
Counsel, do you want this? I can keep it if you'd like. No? No, sure. Thank you. And Judge, may I publish?
Yes.
Thank you. On the Elmo. Emma, I'm looking at the life map insurance. And is that the one you talked about with Taylor Ballard?
Yes.
You previously testified that your dad would sign if he was also applying for coverage. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Could you do me a favor under your dad's do you recognize which one is your dad's signature there?
Yes.
Second one, right?
Yes.
Below your mom's. And would you read starting with spouse's signature?
Spouse's signature if applying for coverage.
And what did you understand that to mean?
Either my dad was applying for coverage or my mom didn't read the directions.
Okay. But it was your understanding at the time that the decision and the amount of coverage was a decision your mother made at that time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, the prosecuting attorney, Miss Blake, talked to you about whether your dad discussed with you where the children were, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Was there ever a discussion with your dad that Lori Vallow was concealing the location of the children from everyone?
Yes.
And as part of that, your dad never knew where the children were. Is that correct?
Yes.
What he did know is that
Why do you say I'm not coming back after they found the bodies on his property? He had no idea they were there. What a surprise. What do you think that Chad went over to Emma Daybell's house for? I'm sorry, Maurice. What do you think he went over there right before he left her house to go to the attorney? Remember? Because that's where he was before he took off.
Vallow had indicated to him that the children were safe.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay and speculation.
Well, it's untimely. Overruled.
Okay. So is it your understanding that your dad never knew where the children were, but only that they were safe?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay and speculation.
Sustained.
Okay. I want to talk lastly about one other subject that the prosecuting attorney brought up. She mentioned to you that why you never brought up an issue about your mother getting an autopsy. Do you recall the day that your mother was exhumed?
I think it was December 11th.
Okay. And then the first time you learned about an autopsy and that your mother had been dug out of the ground would have been on what day?
December 13th.
So do you think that it would have been practical for you after they conducted the autopsy and dug your mother out of the ground to file an objection or complain?
It was already completed.
Yeah. I have nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
All right. I will conclude the testimony of this witness then.
Oh, that was so stupid. All right.
It will be the
Here is his son. We went from oldest daughter to oldest son. I cannot, I will never understand how you could defend his actions against your mom, against your family, why you would allow the person who has hurt and abused you your whole life take you down the rabbit hole. But I now suspect that she is very aware and was very aware and was coached, and Lindsay was trying to get her to even be honest about it. And she continued to pretend like she did not remember that. But she remembered everything else perfectly, but not when Chad had specifically asked her not to say certain things or to say specific things. So unfortunately, my opinion has changed about her dramatically from her testimony. I do not hate her, but I am sickened by the choices she continues to make. I really hope that she will come to think for herself and at some point realize how sick this all is. And I don't know, be better. All right, let's go in. We're going to jump in. This one's a lot shorter.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I wonder if they think that they don't have to repent too. because there's no way Chad did not tell his kids about all that stuff. No shot.
Thank you.
All right, you can go ahead and inquire.
Would you state your name, spell your last name for the record for me, please?
Garth Daybell, Daybell.
And Garth, can you tell me what your relationship is to Chad over there to my left?
Chad is my father.
Okay. And can you tell me how many brothers and sisters you have?
I have 4 brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest, and then
he's the oldest.
2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Okay. Now, I want to start out by saying that at the time your mother had passed away, and if at any time, Garth, you need to take a break or have a drink of water, please tell me, okay? At the time your mother passed away, who was living in your dad and mom's home?
So in my parents' home, it was my dad, my mom, and me.
Okay. And in terms of the sleeping arrangements, how were the bedrooms aligned
I thought there was a lot of people living there. That's 3.
in that house?
So at the end of a hallway, there was...
He sounds exactly like Chad. Like, it sounds identical.
On the left would have been my bedroom, and on the right across the hall would have been my parents' bedroom.
Okay. And if you were to estimate, and you only have to estimate, it doesn't have to be scientific, how far would you estimate is the distance between the bed you were sleeping in the one bedroom and the bed that your mother and father shared in terms of feet?
So I would estimate about 20 feet between the 2 beds.
Okay.
Someone said, Summer said, Garth always ends with a question, and that's exactly right.
Now I'm going to switch around a little bit and go on a couple of other different topics. So please bear with me. Okay. There is a method to this madness, I guess. But do you have a recollection? And I want to say prior to 2000, not John Pryor, but prior to 2017.
Not John Pryor.
Who was
Why did you throw
driving
that
the
in there,
Dodge Dakota? I want
dumbass?
to say prior to 2000, not John Pryor, but prior to 2017.
There was no reason to throw that in there.
Who was driving the Dodge Dakota?
Prior to 2017 was my dad.
Okay. And then after 2017, was your dad still driving the Dodge Dakota?
He was not.
Okay. You're sure about that?
I am sure.
Okay. Who was driving the Dodge Dakota?
It'd be my mom.
Okay. Okay. And she was primarily the one driving that?
Oh, I think I have it backwards.
Well, that's what I want to ask you, and I want to make sure that you're being accurate about this. So prior, and maybe I confused you by doing that. At the time of your mother's death, do you know which vehicle your dad was driving?
My dad was driving the Dodge Dakota.
Okay. And is there a reason why are you nervous?
I am.
Okay.
He sounds just like him.
Do you share your father's introvert personality?
I do. I consider myself pretty shy.
Okay. So at the time, and I'm going to go back, and this is prior meaning before 2017. Again, do you know who was driving
Pryor, not John Pryor. No one even asked you.
the Dodge Dakota?
But before 2017, it would have been my mom.
Okay. And then do you have a reason as to why that changed? Do you recall?
If I recall, it had something to do with car troubles.
Okay. And then your mother started driving a different vehicle?
She started driving an Equinox.
Okay. And was that her primary vehicle?
After 2017, yes.
Okay. But there were occasions when they switched off. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. But primarily your father would be the one seen in the Dodge Dakota, correct?
correct.
Okay. Okay. Now, I want to talk about the summer of 2019 and in regards to raccoons. What do you recall about that summer in regards to raccoons?
That summer, I was testing out a new tent, and out in the backfield, and I heard a rustling, and I went out and I looked up into the tree, and there was a raccoon there, and so I ran inside and I told my dad, "There's a raccoon," and it was very close to where our rabbits were being kept, and so I told him, and we went out. He grabbed the shotgun and he shot the raccoon.
And was that in the evening? Was that during the day? When was that?
It was about 10 at night.
Okay, so that evening.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd
Was
be
it-
the nighttime?
Exclusive that you would only see raccoons at night, or were there occasions when you would see them in the morning or the afternoon?
I saw them at night, except for when we had trapped them.
Okay. And you had trapped them during the day
Mhm.
when they were raiding what were they raiding?
The rabbit hutch, or it was a rabbit pen. We had set up a fence.
Okay. So they would come in during the day to go after your rabbit food or rabbits?
The food, and we were worried they would go after the rabbits eventually too.
Okay. Did you have an occasion to catch other raccoons during the summer of 2019?
We did.
How many other raccoons did you catch during the summer of 2019?
It was 3 or 4, if I remember.
And do you have a recollection of approximately where on the property those were buried?
We typically buried them in the compost heap behind the silver shed.
Okay.
Oh, so not in the pet cemetery. Yeah, shut up.
Were there other animals that were buried in a different place on the property?
Yes.
And where would those other animals be buried?
Animals that were more of pets, we would bury out near a raspberry patch.
Okay. So it would be unusual for your father to put a raccoon in the raspberry patch then. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Okay. So would he typically tell your mother if he did something like that?
Yes.
Okay. Was the silver, and what did you call it? The behind the what?
Silver shed.
The silver shed. Was that getting full at some point?
The shed was pretty, or you mean the
ground around the shed is where you were putting them in the compost?
I would think so. There was a few
You would
animals
speculate, yeah.
in there.
Well, more than a few, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Fuck this
So at some
bullshit.
point you also set traps for the raccoons. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Who did you get the traps from?
Our neighbor, Matt Price.
Okay. And at some point, was there issues with the operation of that trap?
Sometimes they could get in and get the food without the trap activating.
Okay. Okay. Now, and when that happened, would that mean the door wouldn't close, or what would go on there?
So the door would remain open, but the food would disappear.
Okay. And was that happening throughout the summer?
It was.
Okay. And eventually, did you catch that big raccoon?
There were so many, I don't remember.
Okay. And at some point,
I apologize to interrupt. There's just an issue I want to bring up briefly on a sidebar here.
Yep. Yep. And you said there's 3 or 4, but now you can't remember the number. It's pretty interesting how quickly that changed for you. There we go. That was a long one.
All right, thank you, counsel. The court had that quick sidebar. It was nothing to do with any question or any impropriety of a question or objection or anything like that. It was simply a matter of management of witnesses in the case. And so because the issue came up and we need to address that briefly, and given the timing, Mr. Pryor, I think it would be good to just break for lunch, then we can sort that out and you can continue with direct.
okay.
So we'll go ahead and take, while you're under oath, don't discuss your testimony or
Okay, we're back. Skipped all that.
Twenty-two 1623 State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. We just concluded the lunch recess and Garth Daybell is on the stand in direct examination. If you'd like to continue with your direct, Mr. Pryor, you may at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor. All set, Garth?
Yep.
Okay. Now, Garth, before we go forward, we had previously been talking about the raccoon in the cage, but before we go forward, how many times prior to today have we spoken together?
I think no more than 3,
Okay.
including today.
Okay. If you include today, we did speak yesterday for a brief time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did I tell you anything to say, or did I encourage you to testify a certain way?
No.
Did I give you any advice of any kind?
The only advice given was to just tell the truth.
Okay. And you're prepared to do that today?
Yes.
I want to talk about the September 9th of 2019. Do you recall that?
I think that if I recall correctly, that's the day that I drove home.
Okay. And about what time did you get home that day?
So I got home from work about a little after 4 because that's when my contract hours ended. And so it'd take about 20 minutes to drive home. And I pulled into the back driveway.
Okay. And hold on a second. I guess I didn't cover this very well. You are currently employed as what?
I'm a 8th grade science teacher.
And where do you teach?
Madison Junior High in Rexburg.
Okay. And at the time in 2019, were you working as an 8th grade science teacher?
I was.
Okay. And did you have another job as well?
That October, I worked as a scare person at a local haunted house.
Okay. Okay. So on the date of
You
September
guys got the weirdest jobs in the world, bro.
9th of 2019, you had testified that you were just getting home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion in that, and that was it late afternoon or evening? Do you recall?
It was late afternoon. The sun was still up.
Okay. Did you have an occasion to talk to your father?
I did. As I pulled in, he came up to me. He was in work clothes and
All right. Now hold on. When you say close, what does that mean?
Yard work.
Okay.
And he sounded very excited. He said, "Hey, Garth, I killed another raccoon."
Okay. Was that the raccoon?
He sounded very excited. This is sick. And now that you know the timing of those texts, no red flags, right? Okay. We'll just keep pretending.
That you folks were having difficulty with that was breaking out of the cage?
I believe it was.
Okay. And did he express that to you that he finally got that raccoon?
He did.
Okay. And then at that point, did he show you where he buried that raccoon?
He showed me that it was buried behind the silver shed.
Okay. Okay. Did he ever say to you that he buried a raccoon in the pet cemetery?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Okay. Now, are we confusing the raccoons? You know that you buried some in the silver shed. Is there possibly that some were buried in the pet cemetery?
I think, or they were all buried behind the silver shed.
Okay.
That contradicts everything because he put that. So the testimony immediately automatically makes Chad look bad because they always put the raccoons in a very specific spot.
Now, we talked a little bit with your sister about your mother's health issues. What concerns did you have about your mother's health?
I was concerned that she was getting tired extremely easily, that she would work extremely hard all day and then just come home and collapse.
Okay. And did you ever encourage her to seek medical help?
I did. She had hurt her arm, and I wanted her to go get it looked at. She was trying to rub this bruising ointment on it.
Okay.
She refused to go.
Okay. At some point, she did go to the doctor for the injury. However, do you recall that?
I don't recall the exact time that happened.
Okay. Were there other issues that you had concerns about your mother's health?
We worked in the yard together a lot, and I was her muscle. She would direct me where to dig and move stuff and cinder blocks and garden things. And she had a hard time doing those heavier things.
And why do you say she had a hard time with it?
She would get really winded really easily.
Okay. And is that something that happened in the last year of her life, or was that the entire time that you knew her?
I would say it became increasingly more towards the end of her life.
Okay. Okay. Were there any other concerns about any sort of other medical issues of her being able to keep her balance or anything like that that caused you concern?
She would have fainting spells.
And how often would that happen?
It was usually after she'd been kneeling for a while.
Okay.
So whenever her body was stationary and she stood up quickly from kneeling, she could possibly faint. Is not uncommon.
Was there ever a discussion in your family about her having some difficulty in the temple with kneeling?
Yes.
What was that concerned?
Objection, Your Honor, this calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Okay. I want to go back to the incident with the paintball gun and your mother. Do you recall that day?
I do.
It was approximately the 9th of October. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall where you were at that point?
I was on the couch.
Okay. Who was home at that point?
It was me watching TV, and my dad was working on the computer.
Okay. And then at some point, did your mother come home?
She did.
And how did she approach you when she got home?
She came in really panic-stricken, saying someone had attacked her.
Okay. And did she say with what?
She said with a paintball gun.
Okay. Did you have a discussion with her prior to taking any action?
So Chad was sitting on the computer with his son home, thinking that Alex was just going to come out of nowhere, unalive Tammy, and then he was going to just react to that moment because they're going to make it seem like somebody came and did that. Such a sick man, bro.
So when she said that, I was filled with rage and I wanted to go find whoever had done this. And but before I chased after someone with a gun, I said, "Are you sure it was a paintball gun?"
Okay.
And she said, "Yes, it had the thing on top."
The thing on top. What do you mean the thing on top?
I think she was referring to the hopper on top where you put the paintballs.
Did she specifically identify a hopper on top of that gun?
She did by showing me a picture on the computer and pointing to the hopper on the picture.
Did she Google a picture?
She did.
And she showed you the picture on the computer?
Yes.
Now, I want to go with one other topic. At some point, your father and your mother and you were there. Is that correct?
Yes.
And were all of you looking at this image on the computer?
Yes.
Okay. And then an officer by the name of Coulter Cannon showed up at that point. Do you recall that?
I do.
And at some point, did you or your father and mother show Officer Cannon the picture of the paintball gun on the computer?
We did.
And who was present when that took place?
I believe it was my mother, my father, and me, and the officer.
Okay. And is there any doubt that you showed the officer the image on the computer?
There's no doubt in my mind.
Okay. I'd like to move on, and again, if at any point you need to take a break, you let me know. Or if you need some water, or if for some reason you let me know.
I'll take a quick sip.
Okay.
He's literally trying to pretend like he cares. It's really disgustingly cringe when he tries to make it sound like he's being soft.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the evening of October 18th. Okay, and that was the evening before your mother passed.
Yes.
Okay. You were working that day, and you mentioned something about in October you were working at a scare what?
So there's a local haunted house in Teton, Idaho, which is about 20-ish, maybe half an hour away from where I lived, and a seasonal attraction that I would go work. I'm dressed up in a costume to scare people.
Okay. And at that point, did you have an occasion before going in to do that to come home
Come home from
your first job?
Yes.
And walk me through that as to what after you got home from work from the first job, what did you do next?
So I came home, and Mom usually came home before me, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And she told me, I just don't feel good today. I don't want to cook tonight. Can you go get some McDonald's for us?
Now that's a long way to a McDonald's, is it not?
Well, I mean, we're used to driving into town for various things. So
then what town did you drive to for the McDonald's?
Rexburg.
Okay. And
It's not that freaking far.
Forgive me, I don't recall if there is a McDonald's in Rexburg.
There's two.
Oh, okay. Then did you get some food for you folks?
I did.
Who did you get food for?
So I bought food for me and my father and my mother.
Okay, do you recall what you got for your mother?
Her favorite meal was the Quarter Pounder with cheese.
A healthy meal.
Depends.
Man, fuck you for saying that.
And anything else?
I don't remember if she wanted anything else with it, and fries.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I got her a combo.
And then you went to work at the Haunted Mill. Is that what that's called?
Yep. So so about 7-ish, I left, and she was sitting on the couch and said, "Have a fun time. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll let you sleep in."
Okay. And then at some point you got home at about what time?
So I got home about 1 a.m. shortly after that.
Okay. And then at that point, again, you previously testified the distance between your bedroom and your mother and father's bedroom. Is that right?
Yes.
And the distance there was about how far?
About 20 feet.
Okay. And then at some point, did you hear anything coming from your mother and father's bedroom?
As I passed their bedroom, I heard my father snoring.
And is it clear that it was your father snoring?
Yes.
Okay. You had no other indication that your mother was snoring or making any noise?
I didn't hear anything of that sort.
You didn't see any images in the bedroom of any kind of a struggle or a fight or any kind of an altercation, did you?
No, as far as I knew, it was a normal night.
Okay. And then at some point, what did you do after you went into your bedroom?
I got on my computer and I watched YouTube for a few hours.
And when you say a few hours, what does that mean?
Till about 3 a.m. So
Okay.
2 hours-ish.
Okay. And then at early in the morning, at some point, you were awoken. Is that right?
Yes.
And how were you awoken?
I heard my dad saying, Garth, get up. I need help.
Okay.
And I got out of bed and ran over to help.
And then when you walked
You know
into...
why he did that? He unalived her and then pulled a witness, his own son. I'm telling you right now, Chad would do anything to anybody to save his own ass because that is what psychopaths do.
Your parents' bedroom, what exactly did you observe?
I observed my mother had rolled partially out of bed with her legs entangled in the sheets. And my instinct was, oh, she needs help. So I immediately grabbed her by the shoulders and lifted her up back into the bed.
Okay. And at that point, you felt her arms were cold?
Yeah, I felt she was cold and stiff, and
okay.
And she was gray, and I realized she's not been breathing.
Okay. Okay. And at some point between the time you got home at 1 o'clock and the time you went to sleep at about 3 o'clock, did you hear anything or any indication that there was any kind of sound or struggle?
I heard nothing.
Okay. And would you agree that it's close enough that if there was some kind of a struggle or a fight or anything that you would have heard it?
I would have definitely heard it.
There wasn't.
Were you present with the discussion with the Flams about when to have the funeral?
I was.
And what do you recall of that conversation?
I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said it seems pretty simple here. We can have a funeral this day or this day, and
Do you have a recollection of which the two choices of
I
days
feel like
were?
it was either Tuesday or Saturday.
Okay. And you could choose, and was it your impression that the family would have been able to choose either day?
I do, yeah. I feel like we would have been able to.
I want to fast forward to a vacation to Knott's Berry Farm. Do you remember that?
I do.
Do you have a recollection of how long that trip was planned in advance?
Yeah, it was about a week. It felt like a week ahead.
Okay. And at that point, when I say all of you, your family gathered in Rexburg or St. Anthony, is that correct?
Yeah, we were at that house.
Okay. And who was with you at the time when you decided to head to Salt Lake City?
It was my dad and me and Emma and Joe, and that might have been it, or Adam and Leah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
When we hear about Adam and Leah, where's the mention of Lori Vallow? They specifically told them not to mention her because they have to bring it up later.
at the time, was Lori Vallow with you guys at that point?
She was not with us at that point.
And then you drove to Salt Lake City, is that correct?
We drove to Salt Lake City to go to the airport there.
And then you flew to California?
Yes.
And at some point later on in the trip, Lori Vallow showed up separately driving to the California location?
She did.
I want to talk to you a little bit about how you discovered that they exhumed your mother's remains. Do you recall how you were able to discover that?
I first heard about it from my sister, Emma.
Okay. At any point, did any law enforcement officer ever reach out to you, or to your knowledge, anyone in your family, to advise you that they were going to dig up your mother?
No one contacted us. It was a complete surprise.
I want to talk to you a little bit about May 7th of 2021. Do you recall that day for some reason?
I do.
And what happened on that particular day?
It started out as what was going to be a normal school day, and
So I want to stop you there. When you say a normal school day, would that be a day that you were going to teach school?
yes, I was going to go and do my job.
Okay, what transpired on that particular day?
I went out to the driveway to my car, and there were several law enforcement vehicles across the street, and several officers got out and surrounded me and insisted that I go with them.
Okay, do you recall the names of the officers and which agency they were with?
I remember that Detective Ball was there, and
Detective Ron Ball?
Ron Ball.
Okay.
Detective Hermosillo.
That's Ray Hermosillo?
Hermosillo, and then I called him Vinny Kaikamanu.
Would that be Officer Kai Kamano right there in the gray suit?
That would be him.
He was one of those that showed up at your house?
Why are you
Yes.
pointing?
Okay. And at that point, what transpired?
I told them, "Do you have a warrant?" And they said, "No, but you need to come with us anyway."
Did they give you any choice?
I felt like I had no choice.
And then what transpired next?
They drove me to the police station. They confiscated my phone.
Okay, was anybody with you at that point?
At that point, no.
Did you later learn that they also took custody of somebody else?
Yes, they had then gone up to the door.
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike that question. It mischaracterizes the testimony.
Sustained.
Okay, what transpired after they took you into custody?
Objection, Your Honor. Again, misstates the testimony. Move to strike.
I'll rephrase, Judge, I'm sorry. After the police officers told you that they were going to take you, what transpired next?
I was taken to the police station, and then I saw that they had also detained my wife and brought her in a separate car.
Were you two kept together in the same room?
We were kept in separate rooms the entire time.
And when you say the entire time, how long did they keep you in the separate rooms?
About 5 or 6 hours.
Okay, at any point did they try to talk to you?
They did.
Okay, and what was the nature of the discussion?
They were telling me that my story was untrue and that I needed to change it.
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike. Calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
When you say they told you they needed you to change your story, or that they didn't believe you, who is they?
The 3 detectives that I've mentioned.
Were there any other detectives there?
There was a Detective Mattingly who was with my wife.
Okay. And at some point, is it your understanding they were doing the same thing to your wife?
She tells me they never talked to her.
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Okay. And at some point, did you ask to have an attorney represent you?
I did.
And at some point and you said it was between 5 and 6 hours?
Yes,
And at some point, were you released?
I was.
Were you subsequently charged with anything as a result of being detained?
I was not.
Did they take any further action with you as a result of being detained?
They did not.
Okay. And then subsequent to that, was there another occasion when you were accused of or asked to change your story?
I was summoned to 2 separate grand juries.
Okay, I want to talk about the second grand jury. Do you recall that?
I do.
He's so
And do you have
selective.
an
Pryor's so selective, so that way it doesn't look bad. It's just insane to watch him try to dance around the reality.
Understanding of why you were summoned in front of the grand jury?
It was made pretty plain that I needed to change my story to fit theirs.
Okay, and in the event you didn't change your story, you would be indicted by the grand jury?
Yes, and they had a list of charges that they were threatening me with.
Okay, when you say they were threatening with you, who are you talking about?
I didn't talk to them specifically
Okay.
myself. I had asked for an attorney who was going in between us.
And who was that attorney?
His name was Forrest Fisher.
And at this point, you are willing to waive your attorney-client privilege and allow Mr. Fisher to discuss the case?
Yes.
Okay. And your understanding of going in front of the grand jury is that you were going to be indicted unless you changed your story?
Yes.
And do you know what prosecutorial agency was attempting to do this to you?
I believe it was Fremont and Madison counties.
Okay. And at that point, did you testify in front of that second grand jury?
I did.
Okay. Now, before you testified in that second grand jury, you had previously testified in a grand jury that was related to your father. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at that point, you told us what you believed was your version of the facts of this case, correct?
Correct.
And at the second grand jury, they brought you in, and the focus of the second grand jury, did you understand that to be you being charged with a grand jury offense?
I understand that it was that way. I felt I was feeling extremely pressured.
Pressured by who?
The prosecutors.
And at some point, you testified in front of the grand jury. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, to bullshit lie for your dad. That's all you're doing.
Did you tell relatively the same story to both grand juries?
I told the identical story.
At any time, were you ever
You know why you
indicted
told the identical story? Because you probably rehearsed that shit 100 times.
by the second grand jury brought by the prosecuting attorneys against you?
I was not.
Okay. But you felt that at that point, the purpose of the second grand jury was to try to threaten or persuade you to change your story. Is that correct?
Yes.
Maybe to tell the truth. How about that?
Now, your faith is you're of the LDS faith. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how would you characterize? Let me put it this way: would you agree that your faith is maybe different than your father's?
I believe I interpret it differently.
Okay. How would you describe your father's faith?
I would say it's more traditional, meaning closer to the way it was 100 years ago.
Okay.
Okay, so now we get what traditional means. So like I told you guys before, what he means by traditional, at least Garth's definition of traditional, is how it was when they first set up the LDS Church, which is very different than what the LDS Church is now.
And you've had discussions with your father over the years regarding his faith. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Did he ever talk to you about a plan or a plan that he had in place?
He had
Objection, Your Honor, calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Judge, I'm not asking him if he said. I asked whether there was ever that discussion. It's not hearsay, I don't believe, Judge.
It's sustained.
Okay. Were you aware that your father had beliefs about the 144,000?
I do.
Okay. Was there any discussion? Well, let me move on for a minute, Judge. That's all right.
The judge doesn't care.
When you talk about the differences between your religious faith and your father's religious faith, can you identify some of the differences that you believe? You believe you're of the mainstream LDS faith. Is that fair?
Yes.
And you testified previously that your father's more traditional or fundamental or more traditional, I guess.
Yes.
And what would be the differences that you identified as differences in interpretation?
Well, I teach and believe in evolution.
Okay.
I teach that to my students.
Okay.
Why are you all teaching people? What the f is going on in life? Okay, I want to give you guys an example real quick on some differences from the conception of the LDS Church to now. So polygamy was a core practice. Plural marriage was taught as a commandment from God. It was secretly practiced and openly in Utah, and the leaders said it was required for the highest exaltation, which would be your celestial kingdom, and then polygamy is now strictly forbidden, and practicing would get you excommunicated from the church. And then in the mid 1800s to the 1978, black members were barred from the priesthood and temple ordinances justified by the teachings linking race to divine curses. Now, from 1978, all worthy males members can hold the priesthood. All races have full temple access, and church leaders now explicitly reject the past racist explanations. And then the temple practices, they used to take the blood oaths, penalty, mimicking death, and strong anti-outer language. Now they've removed all of those things. Women are also, I think it was very different. And then the role of women, once gave blessings, participated more openly in spiritual authority over time, and now women do hold leadership roles, and they speak in general conference, but they do not hold the priesthood, which is a big separator. And then another big thing was leaders openly taught Adam and God theory, speculative cosmology, and detailed ideas about God once being man on another planet. Now the church emphasizes a simpler Christ-centered messaging, avoidance of speculative doctrine, and many older teachings have been labeled as theories and differences. And then difficult history minimized. So Joseph Smith, polygamy, translation issues, and multiple first vision accounts were rarely discussed. Now the church publishes gospel topics, essays, acknowledges the seer stones, the palindry, and the translations complexities. And then they changed their LGBTQ policies. It used to be that homosexuality was treated largely as sinful behavior, less formalized policies. Now same-sex marriages cannot be recognized, is considered incompatible with temple worthiness, but the policies have changed multiple times, notably from 2015 to 2019. And then the globalization of culture was very American, Utah-centered, and pioneer identity dominated. Now it's a global church, and the policies have changed. Less pioneer emphasis, more universal Christian language. So, I mean, obviously you guys could do your own more research, but I had to explain that to you just so we are on the same page on what Chad and Lori were really hitting on and what this family is now saying that they're different. Also, from what I've ever heard or understood, there is no evolution theory in the LDS church as far as the basis goes. That would be your own belief system, because there is no evolution that I've ever heard from the LDS church. So that also would not be a part of the core belief.
I teach that the earth is 4.5 billion years old as opposed to 6,000.
Okay. And do you share your father's views on light and dark?
Partially.
Okay. And explain that to me a little bit.
Light and dark to me mean like good and evil, good and bad, opposing forces.
Okay. Okay. And did your mother and father share similar views of fundamental LDS faith?
They did.
Okay. And your mother shared your father's beliefs, to your knowledge, of this light and dark?
Yes.
What about the idea of putting numeric numbers on people who are identified as either light or dark?
They did that every now and again.
Okay. And they did that in your presence?
Yes.
Okay. Now, your understanding, and I'm going to hack this this person, but I think I previously yesterday talked to you about the book Saints and about a
Newell Knight.
Newell Knight. We talked about that yesterday, right?
Yes.
And in that situation, there was a casting of a sort, correct?
Yes.
And who was doing the casting?
That was Joseph Smith.
And who was he casting?
He was casting a devil, as they described it, out of Newell Knight.
Okay. And at the end of the casting, and was this more of a traditional story of the LDS faith?
It's one that it's usually included in storybooks about the church history and stuff.
Okay, but would you agree that it's more of a fundamental? It's not necessarily as mainstream as it once was?
Yes.
Okay, so it would be more akin to your father's beliefs.
Yeah, I don't know if it's one that would be told as often anymore.
Okay, and in that particular situation, this is the prophet of your church, Joseph Smith?
Yes.
And at that point, he expelled the devil or the demon from Newell Knight?
Yes.
Did Newell Knight die after they expelled the demon from him?
No, he went on to do great things.
Okay, and at some point, is it your understanding that when someone expels...
If anything, that actually hurts your own defense, because everybody else who was labeled dark was killed or died by your estimation. So every time these castings and all these things happen, you saying that about them dying after actually makes you look worse to the jury. That's how I would interpret that.
A dark spirit or a negative spirit that they die after that?
No, they continue living.
Okay. Judge, I don't have anything else at this point. Thank you, Your Honor.
Goodbye.
All right.
Don't come back. Hit the road, Jack.
When you're ready, cross-examination, Ms. Blake.
It's going down.
Mr. Daybell, I'm going to start with, there was some talk of who drove a Dodge Dakota. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And there seemed to be maybe a little bit of confusion there.
I believe that since the events were 7 years ago, I had trouble recalling which was which.
And your recollection is that your dad is actually the one that drove it in the later years?
Yes,
Do you know Joseph Murray?
I do.
How do you know him?
He is my brother-in-law.
Why would Joe Murray in 2019, October of 2019 to be exact, would it surprise you to learn that he referred to the truck as your mom's?
I hadn't heard of that.
Would it surprise you to learn that he had to return the keys, get the keys from her to borrow the truck, and then return them to her?
I hadn't heard of that.
So your mom did in fact drive the Dodge Dakota, at least at times?
She did on occasion.
Here we go, defending daddy. So stupid. Is he really
You
worth
talked
it?
about your dad telling you about a raccoon that he'd shot around September 9th of 2019. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you said that he'd buried it.
Mhm.
Do you remember where he buried it?
He buried it behind the, sorry.
No, I cut you off. I apologize. Do you remember where he said he buried it?
He showed me that it was behind the silver shed.
Were you present when he buried it?
I was not.
He kept pulling this kid into witness positions. So, look, I don't know how I feel about him. I obviously know he's lying for his dad, which is ridiculous. It's just immediate problem because you're defending a sick human being, but you've been abused your whole life. So I still don't give you a pass because you're a grown man. But once you find your balls, maybe you'll turn your ways and we'll start having a different conversation because you need to get out of this. But the point being, every time Chad did something, he specifically went and got this dude to be a witness to it, which says a lot.
And you talked
He's a
about
damn
having
liar.
some concerns about your mom getting winded. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Did you ever share those concerns with law enforcement or the coroner or deputy coroner that showed up on the day of your mother's passing?
I don't recall.
Did you ever share those concerns with law enforcement?
I wouldn't have considered losing your breath to be something law enforcement would be worried about.
At some point, did you learn that an autopsy was going to be conducted on your mom?
I did after I had learned she had been exhumed.
Isn't it funny how almost it sounds exactly the same? Exactly the same. Only thing is, let me say something. I want to say this very clearly. Just because someone comes off very meek and soft doesn't mean that they're not lying or that they're not dangerous, right? And that's how I feel about him. He doesn't come off as aggressive as Emma came off, but he's still lying for his dad. And that's why he got surrounded by the damn police.
With an autopsy being performed, you didn't think that it might be something law enforcement would want to know?
I assumed they would find it.
Did you ever shoot paintball guns with your mom?
I did not.
Did you ever see her with a paintball gun?
I did not.
Did you ever see her with an assault rifle?
I did not.
Would it surprise you if Deputy Cannon said he was never shown an image of a paintball gun on October 9th of 2019?
It would because he was there.
I think you testified that initially when your mom came running in, you were upset.
Yes.
Is it fair to say you wanted to catch whoever this was that had pointed some kind of a gun at her?
Yes, I wanted to catch them.
When you ran outside, did you see anyone?
I did not. It was so dark that I couldn't Yeah, he could have been anywhere.
What were you gonna do?
And you said it was so dark that night?
When I went out, yes.
And you were asked about the events of October 19th of 2019 from counsel. Do you recall that?
Yes.
I want to back up a little bit. Do you recall when you got home from work?
It was a little after 1.
And what did you do when you got home from work?
I pulled into the driveway, went in the house, and got ready for bed. And then, as I said earlier, I watched YouTube for a few hours.
Did you see either of your parents when you got home?
They were both in bed.
How do you know that?
And how did you know they were both in bed?
I saw their forms, their shapes in the bed as I passed by their room.
How did you see their shapes in the bed as you passed by their room?
Did you go in and talk to them?
I did not. They were asleep.
You say they were asleep, but did you actually go in the room?
I assumed they were asleep.
So 2 bodies lying in the bed.
Yes.
Anyone else in the house when you got home?
It was just us.
I thought he was up in the cozy cone.
What woke you up on the morning of October 19th of 2019?
I thought I heard a thump, and then I heard my dad say...
No. That's not what you said, dog. You did not wake up from a thump. You just said that you woke up to your father yelling for your help. Don't play me. Don't play that bullshit with me.
Garth, come help.
And when you went in the room, well, let me back up. Did you in fact go in the room?
I did.
What did you see when you got in there?
I saw her halfway off the bed with her legs still entangled in the blankets.
And what action, if any, did you take at that time?
I immediately thought she needs my help, so I lifted her immediately back up into the bed.
What was your dad doing, yelling for you and not helping you?
Were you close with your mom?
Extremely close.
And counsel talked to you about May 7th of 2021. Do you recall that?
I do.
Do you recall law enforcement actually knocking on your door?
I do not. They waited till I was at my car.
And do you recall when you got to the police station that they left the door open to the interview room?
They did.
And do you recall that they immediately told you they'd call your attorney?
I believe I had to ask for one.
And did your attorney in fact show up?
A few hours later.
And was your attorney present for questioning?
He was.
Did law enforcement actually get you breakfast?
They did buy me some McDonald's. They offered and I accepted.
And prior to May 7th, had you had a meeting with law enforcement where they had talked to you about the results of your mom's autopsy?
Yes, Detective Aikamanu and a FBI agent came to my classroom after school.
And when they talked to you, were you willing to hear them out on the results?
They did tell me the results.
And do you recall on May 7th going over that autopsy again?
I did not.
Do you recall one of the detectives telling you that your mother's death?
Sustained.
Do you recall talking to an individual named Micaiah Bagelin and telling him you found your mom dead in her bed and your dad gone?
I don't recall talking to him about that.
Do you recall talking to Cara Briggs, who's now Cara Daybell, and Emma Moss about finding your mom on the couch?
I told Kara. She's now my wife.
That's not what you said, though.
And there was talk of some testimony at some grand juries. Do you recall that? Sorry, let me back up. Let me rephrase that. Do you recall counsel asking you about having testified at a couple proceedings?
Sorry,
Yeah, your selective memory is starting to fail.
was I don't quite know the rules, but when you were talking to me about Kara and Emma, can you repeat that question? I don't know if
What?
Yes. Do you recall telling Kara and or Emma about finding your mom on the couch?
I did not tell them that she was on the couch.
Do you recall having talked to one or both of them?
I do. I had told them that the night before I had seen her on the couch as she said goodbye to me.
And if they were to say something different, would that surprise you?
I mean, I've heard that before.
And then do you recall counsel talking to you about you having testified at a couple grand jury proceedings?
Yes.
And are you aware that the second grand jury was held based on the request of the first grand jury?
Judge, I'm going to object. That calls for speculation.
I'm asking if he's
Argumentative,
aware.
Judge.
Well, the question
There's no
is,
foundation.
yes, just the question is whether he's aware. You can answer.
Are you aware that
gonna
the
say
second grand
no.
jury was conducted based on the request of the first grand jury?
I was not aware of that.
See, he's got to keep it, make sure he does.
And counsel
says everything
asked
right.
you about Joseph Smith in a casting. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And what did you indicate happened to the person that they were casting on?
He continued to live on and lived his life.
Are you aware of your mom having been designated as being possessed?
I had not heard that before.
Had you ever heard of J.J. Vallow being designated as being possessed?
I had not heard that.
What about Tylee Ryan?
I had not heard that.
Is your mom still alive?
She is not.
Do you know where the remains of Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow were located?
They were found in the backyard.
And when you say the
the
backyard, whose
backyard.
backyard?
My father's.
I have no further questions.
All
Goodbye.
right.
Goodbye. Here we go with stupid cross. Well, I guess that was technically cross. How can you
Redirect, Mr. Pryor.
be a man and grow up? It's ridiculous. The
Garth,
life,
regardless of
dude.
what the first grand jury may or may not have believed, did you understand that the second grand jury was convened to determine whether or not you were being untruthful in any way and whether you should face perjury charges?
And that's the way I understood it.
Okay. And again, who brought that grand jury against you?
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Sustained.
And your recollection and your belief is that you were not indicted by the grand jury, correct?
That is correct.
And did you feel like that someone was trying to intimidate or threaten you to change your testimony?
I do, yes.
And who would that be?
Madison and Fremont County.
Oh, I'm sure they were so scary.
Judge, that's all I have at this point. And Judge, we need a sidebar just very briefly.
Very
And,
well.
Your Honor, before we do that, I would request a brief recross
On what topic?
on the topic of the furtherance of the grand jury and what he believed.
Just on that very narrow topic, Ms. Blake, I'll allow that and we'll have the sidebar after that.
Thank you.
Ray's in there. Change your testimony. No. Lie for us.
But Ms.
You
Blake,
lie
not
now.
to expand the scope of where
What happens? Anything? Does anything ever happen? No.
So we're going to arrange a spot to meet with the witness and counsel
All right.
outside the
So
presence of the courtroom.
we're done for the day. I don't know why I back to back that, just to piss myself off. They're lying for their dad. You can feel it. You can hear it. Their stories are almost exactly the same. The grand jury thing is a big deal because they had to reconvene another jury just to see if they were lying. And the inconsistency of, for me, I read into the thud and all of that very, very quickly just because, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And there's no inflection or there's nothing I've ever heard in a family like this where they do not have, they're very monotone. And so there's no up and down. So you can't even tell much when what's going on other than Emma getting pissed off at Lindsay. So it is what it is. All right, guys. I love you. We have a big week coming up this next week. I know we're getting close to Christmas, so we will be taking a break, obviously, around that time. So I'll let you know all that stuff. If we have anything going on for this weekend, just look for the community tab. Other than that, love you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you for all of the swear jar. We were in a negative balance. We are no longer in a negative balance. Maybe we are, but I do appreciate you guys, and you've made this very palatable for me, and that means a lot. So thank you for that. Other than that, I love you. See you next week. And yeah, excited to keep going and get this over with. Love you guys.